Coming to you from Blue Crew Studio in Temecula, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, taking you inside the lives and careers of the legends and leaders of action sports. Today's guest is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha is the industry leader in 2- and 4-wheel fun and performance. Motocross, off-road, adventure, side-by-side, Yamaha sets the standard. Yamaha revs your heart. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motorsport.com. It doesn't matter if you like to pull a throttle cable on a dirt bike, street bike, side-by-side. Motorsport.com is putting riders first with parts, gear, and accessories, including some of our partners like Troy Lee Designs, Dunlop, Pro Circuit, and more. They offer first returns free on apparel so you can buy with confidence. And Motorsport.com offers fast, free shipping on all orders over $79. Make your next ride your best ride. Visit Motorsport.com. Troy Lee made a name for himself as the most elite helmet painter in all forms of motorsport racing. His ability to make a stationary object look fast is something rare. That creativity gave way to motocross and mountain bike gear, helmets, and an arsenal of protective equipment aimed at keeping racers on the track and out of a doctor's office. The 2025 TLD line is out, and it's as fast as ever. Troy Lee Designs, blending speed and style. Rockform, creators of the world's strongest magnetic phone case. They have mounts for your car, motorcycle, and bicycle, as well as universal mounts to adhere your phone to any surface. They also have screen protectors, power banks, stands, chargers, and more. And don't forget the G-Rock wireless golf speaker. Magnets adhere this powerful speaker to your cart, or any metallic surface for that matter, so you have tunes while you golf, work, or hang out. Rockform, always innovating the phone case market. Rockwell designs all their sunglasses in their U.S. headquarters in Utah. Then they are manufactured in Italy using the strictest craftsmanship standards, ensuring you get the best pair of sunglasses you've ever owned. From men's and women's designs, floatable, alloy frame, and a UV 400 rating, which blocks out 100% of UV rays, Rockwell has everything you need for you and your family. Use our code WT20 for 20% discount at checkout at rockwelltime.com. Thanks for joining us here at the Whiskey Throttle Show in Blue Crew Studio, folks. We've got a great guest today, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Colt Nichols.
How we doing?
I'm awesome, dude. Thanks for coming in.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. We had Bogle on, and I wanted to get you right after him, but I was like, no, I want to wait a little while.
Yeah.
Because I know you guys are boys.
Oh, yeah.
And grew up together and stuff. So I'm anxious to hear that story, hear your whole story. We start everything with the motorsport.com gate drop. Guys, get anything you need for your bike, side-by-side quad, if you're into those kind of things. Whatever. Get it from motorsport.com. Those guys do a great job. Start with just tell me about your season, man. You've been grinding through an injury. I mean,
yeah.
I can relate to these, where you're just like, well, I don't want to go get a surgery and ruin my whole season, so let me do what I can. But at the same time, you're super limited by what's been going on. Tell us about what's happening.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate. It was really like the second moto at Paula. A guy kind of came across. He fell off like this little. There was an inside-outside option, and he somehow got whiskey, jumped off to the right, and then I just had nowhere to go. Ran right into him. I don't know how it happened, but I guess thumb kind of went backwards a little bit. Got the UCL ligament in my thumb, and I didn't really get it checked immediately. I was just like, this sucks. I kind of figured that's what it was. And then MRI after Hangtown, realized I tore that. I actually got told, Dr. G told me at Colorado, right before the motos at Colorado. Then
he walked up to the line, hey.
Yeah, literally. I know. I was like, bro, you should have waited maybe till after the race, but I was like, whatever. And then first moto DNF, that was unfortunate. Then second moto, I got ninth and actually rode pretty good. So then after that, I'm like, okay, maybe I can salvage this thing kind of. And it just progressively got a little worse. Yeah. I had a crash at Southwick, and I don't want to say did it again, but it was just unfortunate I hit in the same spot. And then after that, Redbud, I wasn't able to finish. I just straight up couldn't hang on. I was going down some of those hills. My hand fell off a few times, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm going to hurt myself. I was like, let's try and go through maybe to Washougal, figure it out. Maybe I'll be in the points for SMX. If I can race it, then we'll just kind of decide after that. And then did halfway decent at Washougal, then got it fixed right after that. So it was unfortunate. I felt like I could only give, kind of half-ass effort all summer, which sucked.
Yeah.
But
first of all, it's so crazy how these UCLs are like the new ACL.
It's nuts.
Everyone's tearing UCLs, and for a while it was like Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
There was 2 or 3 guys that tore their Achilles, and I'm all, I don't think I've ever heard of that getting torn, and all
No.
of a sudden, left, right, and center.
Yeah, they like come in spurts. It's really weird. I mean, me and Bogle talk about this all the time, but yeah, I've never heard anyone doing Achilles. And then all of a sudden, you had 3 or 4 guys in a row. This thumb thing, you know, Jet did it, Coop, Bogle's actually done it too. So whenever I had it, I was like, I don't want this is crazy. You know, now Jalik has one too, and unfortunately, he had both of those. But yeah, it was just it's super weird how they kind of come in spurts like that.
It makes sense, though, right? It's basically you get thrown forward, and your thumb hangs up on the bar, and
Yep, that's all she wrote.
Surprising we don't have more of them, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah. They suck too. They're tedious. It's like small. It's annoying. You don't really think how much you use your thumb. And I think I would have been okay if it was on left side. But being my right hand, it's the throttle side where you're constantly re-gripping and having to twist with it. If I was just holding it, I think I would have been okay. But having to try and twist with it and everything was really difficult. And Washougal, there's like that big roller where you jump into the sand, and I could not jump that. I had to just roll over the top of it because I did it in practice a few times. I would land and veer to the right because I just couldn't really hang on. I'm like, man, this is not safe. So I'm glad I got it fixed.
With your left, you could pull a Larry Ward. He used to cut the ring on his grip.
Yep.
And slide his thumb into that. He would hold it like sideways.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it would have been anything else, it would have been okay. But, yeah, this right side was just, dude, it was difficult. So I'm glad I got it fixed.
So did you guys consider right when you heard, like at Colorado or whatever, getting it done right then and then being ready to go for playoffs?
Yeah, I didn't actually tell anybody immediately. I've kind of struggled with, injuries through my career, and I thought this was one of those ones where I could just kind of power through it. So I was like, you know what? I don't really want to say anything immediately. The team was actually kind of pissed when I initially told them, because they were just like, well, you should have told us when it first happened, which was at Paula. But I also didn't know for a few more weeks after that. And then after that, I did tell them, after Colorado, like, hey, I have a torn UCL. This is kind of what I want to do. I want to try and race with it. And if I can't, then I need to go get it fixed. And after Washougal, we all sat down and kind of tried to come up with a plan. Because the plan originally was like, let's race through this thing, go through SMX, get it fixed. But, coming back for 26, I was trying to be like, hey, if I'm going to ride for you guys, next year and we can kind of get all that, kind of buttoned up, then I would like to get it fixed so that I'm not like dragging this thing into A1.
Don't ruin 2 seasons over.
Exactly. So that was kind of the whole idea. And I'm glad I got it fixed because it really sucks missing SMX. Those are my favorite races all year. But this thing's going to take a little bit longer than I thought. Everybody that I've talked to that's had the thumb is like, dude, it just drags on forever. So
what are they saying timeline till you're...
It depends on who you ask, really. Like, I talked to Coop a lot about his just because, I still talk to him every now and then. And he was like, dude, I couldn't ride till, 8 weeks. And then after that, it just kind of was pretty achy for a while. So it didn't get great for, 10, 12 weeks. Justin, Bogle, he still struggles with his. And that's been a while since he's done his. So everyone just says it's annoying.
So what are you at now? How many weeks?
Right at almost 6 weeks, or at 6 weeks, I think, right now. So, yeah, we still got a few more weeks. I'm hoping that another 2 to 3 weeks I can get on the bike. That's the idea for me. Then after that, we'll just see where we go. I'm, signed up to race World Supercross with HEP. So that'll be fun. I'm trying to push to get back for the first round of that, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, okay. And where's the scar? Where do they do
It's tiny. See, it's this little bitty thing right here. You can see it's still kind of swollen a little bit, obviously. That's the hard part is just getting the swelling out, but tiny little scar here. Then there's 2 anchors right here where they kind of try and tie the ligament back and kind of get it to stay. So it's nothing crazy. I flew up, had Dr. Ting do it, flew up in the morning, had surgery, flew back that evening. Not a big deal. Just takes forever. It's just tedious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any numbness in your thumb?
I did a nerve block from elbow down. They told me obviously that's better for recovery, immediately, but it's tingly still in the fingertips a little bit, stuff like that. So I'm like, that sucks. That's why I hate those. So I don't really like doing the nerve block. I wish I wouldn't have done that.
I've never done them.
They suck. Yeah, they're not that fun.
So that's normal to have tingly for a while?
Yeah. I mean, like for the first at least 72 hours, I couldn't feel anything. My hand was completely numb. Then as it starts to come back, you start to use your hand more. It kind of comes around, and even still to this day, my fingers, like the fingertips, are still a little tingly. It just feels like they're asleep. Yeah, it's really, really annoying. So I'm kind of used to it by now. I've had a few, femurs and stuff like that where they did nerve blocks, and even when I did my wrist in 22, same kind of thing. So they're not fun though. I don't like it. They suck.
Surgery sucks, man. It's the sport is gnarly. What are your thoughts on, the SMX component that they've added into it? It's like, before you would either sacrifice Supercross or Nationals, you know what I mean, so that you're ready for the next season. Or, if you got hurt early in Supercross, you'd get ready for Nationals. now you've added kind of this third component that has a lot of money.
Yep.
So even if you don't qualify, it's like a guy like you could go in and qualify to the LCQ or whatever they call it.
Yeah. Yep.
And put some good money in your pocket.
Yeah.
So now you're having to go, okay, maybe I'll miss this or whatever. And, where does the priority lie?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like I was in a weird spot whenever SMX first started initially, which was, 23 was its first year. And, I rode for factory Honda and Supercross. That was an experience of a lifetime. That was great. But I knew that was a short-lived thing. That was like, hey, you're going to come race for us, get through Supercross, hopefully healthy, help us develop this bike a little bit, and then pretty much, kind of see you later. So after that, I was like, okay, well, what's my next move? That whole summer was kind of trying to just figure out what to do. I borrowed Swap's bike, took it to Washougal, got 10th there, and just doing that allowed me to qualify directly into SMX. And, dude, I went there and made my salary that I had at Honda just from racing those 3 races at SMX. So for me, that was, like, huge. I was like, dude, I can go make $100,000 racing SMX. That's, like, big money for me at the time because I had nothing that summer. Raced World Supercross for Rick Ware, which was another cool thing, to make some money. But for me, that was a huge priority, is racing SMX because, I wasn't making much. Yeah. But for other guys, I get it. If you're already making a few $1 million salary like some of these guys are, then to go race SMX, it just seems like another drag-on thing that you have to do. I think the paycheck is great, and that's why we do this, to make money. We love what we do, and all of us have this rush that we can't seem to get anywhere else from racing, and that's why we do it. But yeah, I think it's tough, dude. I mean, this past weekend took out a lot of guys, which is difficult. Like the track, you can blame it on that or this, that, or whatever. But doing the season long, that's what happens. I mean, you talk about NBA all the time. There's 82 games. The regular season's too long. You need to shorten it up so that these guys are healthy for longer. And I get it. Like it's hard to say that for our sport.
At least they're getting paid pretty fat.
An
so
insane
if they
amount of money.
Wear themselves out or retire early. They're fine.
Like for me, if I was in the NBA playing 82 games plus the playoffs, going a few extra months, but I'm making $50 million, like I'm probably not going to say shit. I'll be like, you know what, whatever. Like I'll sacrifice my body a little bit to make that kind of money. But
hit me with the dildo out here on the court. I don't
literally,
care.
exactly. But for us, it's like, dude, like you're sacrificing your body and getting hurt all the time, and I'm making $80,000. It's like it's tough, to justify that. But it's the sport we live in. It's what we do. It's got its flaws, just like anything else. But I mean, I love the SMX. I love the idea of it. I think it's great. But the season it's a drag for sure.
Yeah, I wish they'd pull a Supercross round away so we at least didn't go up any races. You know what I mean? Kept it even, but it's hard to get them to give up that much money for themselves too.
It's hard, yeah, very, very hard.
Hey guys, get over to WhiskeyThrottleMedia.com. Check out all of our content over there. We've got a ton of stuff on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram if you don't. Moto, off-road, dual sport, all kinds of stuff, plus our live events, golf tournaments. All the tickets will be sold on there, so check that out. Our guest story today brought to you by Yamaha. Oklahoma boy. Where at in Oklahoma?
Born and raised Muskogee, Oklahoma. It's closer to the Arkansas side. We live like 7 miles off I-40. Did everything there. We had a track in the backyard. There was a track a mile away that a good friend of mine owned. And my parents actually, my dad and my uncle, owned a track by the time I was like 6. Ran state races, stuff like that there. All the way up until we got, I don't know, it was probably 12 or so when they finally sold it. We just got more serious about racing bigger races. We were gone all the time, going to Texas, stuff like that.
You got serious early. I was looking through the results for Loretta's, and first year there, let me see if I get this right, was, 2000.
Yeah, first year was rough,
4 to 6 class, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you were going as a little guy.
Yeah.
So back up. Rad place to grow up as a kid, right? You guys could you had property, you could just go nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't huge. My parents have like a 2.5 acre lot, but at the time there wasn't really. We lived off a dirt road. There wasn't a whole lot of neighbors. We had one that was somewhat close, but we did whatever we wanted. The field next to us was nothing but cows, so like you could do kind of whatever.
Small town in Oklahoma. I mean,
tiny. I mean, tiny. Like the town I grew up in is 2,000 people. It's been the same since 1970. It's still 2,000 people. It hasn't grown, hasn't shrunk. It's just 2,000 people. Yeah. We got a Subway and a Sonic whenever I was growing up, so that was like sick. Yeah, that was like crazy. Mexican restaurant, high school there, then a tiny little college. And that's it. But, dude, I loved where I grew up. I thought it was great.
I grew up in Great Falls, Montana. It's a little bit bigger than that, but it hasn't – when they got a Sam's Club, and they lost their minds. It was like the coolest thing that ever happened.
Yeah, yep.
So while it's kind of sometimes ridiculous, it also – you go back and it's like time stands still.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean? Yeah.
And that's kind of nice in a way.
Oh, I mean, I like it. Like every time I go back home, like sure, I'm bored after being there for a little while. I'm grown now. I've been all these places and all these things, but do my parents still live in the same house? They've been there for 30 years. It's just a different way of life, you know. What
were you into as a kid? Did you play before you got into dirt bikes? Were you like playing other sports? What'd you do?
Yeah, I mean, I was always into dirt bikes. Earliest memories are around dirt bikes. You know, like I remember having a memory that always pops up in my head when people ask me about it, but just being at the track, it was raining outside. I was sitting in the truck. My dad was babysitting me, whatever you want to call it, but he was also riding. Pouring down rain, he's riding at this little local track, and I'm just sitting there watching in awe. And ever since then, I just loved it, you know. And that was when I was tiny. And dirt bikes were always the thing, but going up, like through school, you know, I ran track, I played basketball, I did football for a few years, stuff like that. So I was active. I always just wanted to do something. And then by the time it got like a lot more serious, I was in middle school, high school. That's whenever that like took over. But up until I went online school my junior year, I still played basketball every year up until that point. You know, all the way through grade school, everything. And the only reason why we did online school is just because I missed so many days. My sophomore year, they were like, hey, if you do this again, we're going to have to fail you. Like, we can't have you miss that many days. And that's the only reason why I did it. My mom hated it. She hated it to this day. So
well, the schools don't get paid if you don't show up.
Exactly. It's a problem.
So it's a problem for them.
Yeah. But, yeah, I did all kinds of other sports. Basketball, football, I loved doing that. My sister played basketball. She went to a junior college and played basketball. So that was always huge in our family. We loved it. We thought that was great. So,
you guys big Thunder fans?
Oh, yeah, huge. Yeah, huge. They won the title this year. We were losing our minds, so it was awesome. Yeah, good time to be a Thunder fan.
That's rad. So what was your first bike? Your introduction was as soon as you can remember being alive.
Oh, yeah,
watching your dad, but what was your first bike?
Yeah, PW50. Started off on that. I think second bike might have been either Polini or LEM. I don't know which one came first. I want to say LEM.
I remember those things.
Yeah, LEM was first, then a Polini, I think, and then we went to a KTM. I never did the Cobra route, but yeah, Polini and LEM. Those were funny years. You know, seeing pictures and stuff. It's funny.
Do you remember your first race?
First race was at Ascot MX Park. Still is going to this day. It's pretty crazy. It was right on like the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. And my parents tell the story all the time because I think it's hilarious. But we went there like 5 Saturdays in a row. And the first 4 that we went, my dad would sign me up to race. And then we would get there and I'd be too scared. So I just wanted to play like with my little toy motorcycle. So I'd be like, I don't really feel it. I don't want to race. Finally, like the fifth time.
I'm not feeling it today, Dad.
Yeah, my dad was like, no, you're racing. I signed you up. We came all this way. Like, you're in. I cried. I was bawling in my helmet when I took off out of the gate. And, dude, ever since then, I was hooked. I had no goggles on. I was wearing Timberland boots and some old MSR gear on a PW50.
Yes.
And the first race went, terrible, but it was so much fun that I think every Saturday after that we could go, we were going. I was hooked instantly. But I don't know why. I was terrified to get out there the first time.
So I had a PW when I started, and it was stock pipe, right? Those things were super quiet.
Oh, yeah.
My first race was in Arizona. We flew down to a friend's house. And I was riding his bike. It had like the big modified pipe, and they're super loud. Same thing. I cried, dude. I didn't want to go.
Yeah, terrified.
So scared.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if like the gate dropping noise, the other bike. I don't know what it was. Something just scared me. I didn't want to be out there. So.
Yeah, I mean it's intimidating.
Yeah, yeah. Once I got going though, it was wraps. After that, we were done.
Yeah,
we were hooked.
So you were probably how old then?
I think that was whenever I was 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. So within a year or two, you were off to Loretta's.
Yeah. I think we rode. We started at Ascot, then we went to a few other local races. Started like some state series type stuff, and I'd won some races. So my dad was like, "Oh, you might be all right at this. Maybe we should try for like amateur national." I think we went to Ponca first. Then after that, we went to Loretta. I think a year or two after that, because Ponca was still huge at the time. So my dad raced Ponca. Whenever he was still like riding. Whenever I was tiny.
Which would have been what years?
Ugh, that was.
I don't want to date myself, but I might have raced against him.
I mean, who knows? No, this was right before I came around. So this was probably, early 90s, maybe 90, 91, late 80s. He might have went and raced with a few buddies of his, something like that. But yeah, he only did like Ponca maybe a few times. Okay. Did some local races like C, B class type stuff, and then he just loved the sport. I mean, they were huge fans. Like him and his boys did a few trips up to Millville to watch, national there. Like even when I think Robbie raced and won in 94, 95. He had a Millville year that was just insane. I'd just been born. Him and his buddies went there and watched it live, and he just thought that was like the absolute coolest thing in the world. And that's what made me be Robbie was like my hero, Oklahoma boy. So he was just a huge, huge fan. He still is to this day. Even if I'm not racing, he follows everything. He'll go to like this local track in Muskogee called Sweet 16. He goes there sometimes when they're racing and stuff. He just wants to hang out. So just a huge fan, and that's kind of what made me who I am. And obviously now I followed in his footsteps. I'm just a fan. So it's funny.
You're pretty tight with your dad still?
Oh, yeah, very tight.
Who was like kind of your crew that you rode with and raced with and kind of hung with?
Initially, we had like a local crew around Muskogee at the time. Actually, a pretty good little moto scene. And then once we started to get more serious, is actually when I met Bogle for the first time. We were probably 5, maybe 6 the first time we raced each other, and we battled the whole race, like back and forth on peewees, like small bikes. Okay. My dad introduced himself to his dad, and we were like, hey, I mean, like we just kind of started coming to these bigger races, like where are you guys going to go next type deal. And then we saw each other literally every weekend for the next 15 years. It seemed like, so he was immediate crew. We were good friends with, at the time I raced a kid named Gilson Mactoff, him and his family and my family, Justin's family. We were all really close. Chase Marquier was around. He was a few years younger than me. But I got to know him, obviously, really good. And then I was at Robbie's pretty much 24/7 whenever he started to train me, and that was whenever I got on 85s. Okay. As soon as I got on 85s, I went there for a summer to train. Before Robbie was even training kids, he was still racing ArenaCross. And my dad and Robert were close. Robert was always at the track, doing mods on somebody's random shit. And my dad was like, hey, if, Colt wanted to, like, kind of take this next step, what would that look like if he wanted Robbie to help him? Because, like I said, Robbie was my hero. So my dad kind of talked to Robert, set that thing up, and he was like, well, just come to the house and, hang out for a few weeks. I'll try and, train you and kind of see where this goes. And kind of funny, I was Robbie's, first student, and then after that, it just kind of exploded. So he's still out of town in Oklahoma City. And after that, it was just every kid that wanted to train. Once he moved to he bought Sooner State, turned it into Reynard Raceway, and then there were so many people that just came in and out.
Where is that?
That's in Wellston.
Okay.
Yeah, so he grew up like Robbie, not grew up, but his house that he owned was close to Norman, technically Oklahoma City address, I think. Had an ArenaCross track in the backyard that was kind of on a hill. It was the coolest setup. It was awesome. Huh. But that was his last like 2 years he was on ArenaCross on a Suzuki. He had like the multicolored rims and stuff. Yeah. That year it was like 450 and 250 were still there. I don't even know what that year that would have been. Maybe 2009, 8, 9, something like that. Somewhere around there. He was just doing ArenaCross for like free Nissan or something like that. And he was towards the end of his career. He wanted to race a few more years, but he was like, I need to find out what the hell to do. I went there. It went great. The next summer, like I obviously went back to school. The next summer, there was like 2 or 3 kids that went that were kind of my friends and collectively Robbie's friends. And then he was like, dude, it'd be cool to kind of like own a track. And then right after that, he bought what used to be Sooner State and then turned it into Reynard Raceway in Wellston. Trey moved to Shawnee, which was 20 minutes away. So we had like a big, good group then at that point. Then after that, it kind of took off, but it was cool. Yeah,
there's like a huge group of, Oklahoma's put out a lot of good riders over the years.
Yeah.
Some of the guys, Guy Cooper, obviously, Reynard, Trey Kennard, but you probably don't remember like Johnny Marley. You remember that name?
Oh yeah, classic. Yeah, he was awesome.
There was and I'm missing a bunch of people. I'm brain farting, but there was a lot of good kids that came out.
Yeah, there was. It was all through, like under Guy, there was kind of like this period where there wasn't a whole lot of guys that came through. But Guy, obviously, he was huge. Like to me, he was huge. To my dad, he was huge. And then whenever Robbie came, he was closer to my era. So Robbie was like the ultimate, whenever I started to ride and do everything. But there were so many guys around Robbie that used to race at 59th and Douglas, which was a huge track in Oklahoma City, and it was notorious. It was huge. And I used to see Johnny Marley race there. Robbie would race Millville on a Saturday, then be there the next Wednesday night in between like nationals and racing. I was like, what are you doing? But it was so cool because I got to see Robbie on a factory Kawasaki, racing. And it was just during a random Wednesday, so funny. But Pastrana came there and raced a few times. But Marley, Robbie, there were so many good guys in that era that were there. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, and the dirt back there, I've been to Coop's 500 acres.
Yep. Sick.
It's like the coolest dirt bike playground.
Yeah,
he would jump in his little Kubota tractor and get down that wash and just build a lip and like, okay, we're going to step up here and then we'll jump down. Or he would just build a track.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And then I'm like, wait, you're jumping from here to where? And
yeah,
you just watch him hit stuff. And
that was airtime. He just did the craziest shit. He was the man.
He's great.
Yeah, he was awesome. But no, we had a good crew, man. Oklahoma was awesome, dude. I loved everything about the way that I got brought up and where I was at the time. It was great.
So outside of Robbie, who are some of the riders you looked up to when you were younger?
I loved obviously MC. He was first and foremost. The King was the man. Then obviously whenever Ricky started to come around, I was a huge Carmichael fan. I thought he was great, but honestly, mainly Robbie. I love the dudes from Oklahoma. Guy Cooper was first, Robbie, and then Trey Kennard was like the ultimate. You know, whenever we owned our track, he used to come and race these state series races when he was, kind of a chubby kid riding a Cowie, like super mini, So I remember him then, and he was always just the nicest guy, like super nice. His mom, his dad, brother, everyone was just really, really cool. They were awesome people. So to see his like progression and where he was going with himself, whenever I started to get more serious about it, I was like, wow, like if he can do it, maybe I can. He was just huge inspiration for me. So Trey was first and foremost. He was the man.
You probably didn't get to watch Reynard race, did you? You were probably too young.
I mean, like I said, he would race these local races all the time, and they were always so cool because. There was always remember like these jumps that he would do at this track. It was called the tunnel jump at 59th and Douglas. It was actually in a few of the Terra Firma movies. And, dude, I always remember sitting underneath it watching Robbie like jump, and it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. So I got to watch him race a few times, but never when he was at like, peak at an outdoor national or something like that. I miss those. But yeah, I got to watch him race locally a lot, then ArenaCross, later in his life, stuff like that. So, and dude, he would come back and race state series races back when I was on 80s and stuff. It was random.
So he was kind of like my nemesis. It was him and Craig Decker at Team Green and myself and Jeff DeMent at Suzuki.
Yeah, that was all same era, right?
Same era.
Yeah.
And I think one year at Loretta's, I won the stock 125 class. He rode Schoolboy and Decker rode 250s. And we all three won titles.
Yeah, that's
we kind of dodged each other. But his style...
Yeah.
Man, he made it look so easy.
Yeah.
And then he would get crazy arm pump. That was always his problem. But you'd watch him ride, you go, he's not even trying.
No, that's always what it looked like. And it used to, I think, piss everybody off. So, dude, he's not even trying to go fast. He just looks so effortless when he was doing everything. It was crazy.
He was legit.
Yeah, he was.
And him on a Suzuki, that's how I always picture him, like when he beat Ricky at Unadilla.
Yep. Unbelievable. Unadilla 98.
He was so fast, dude.
Dude, he had that on tape, and it was almost like a lot of the kids that came to Robbie's after he bought the track, they didn't know who Robbie was. They were too young to even know who he was. Like we all did, obviously, because we grew up watching him. But a lot of these other kids were coming from Wisconsin, and they had no idea who Robbie Reynard was. We would all sit down in the living room, we'd put in Unadilla 98 and be like, watch this guy.
On
that
a
was
VHS.
Literally, that was the induction to Robbie Reynard for so many of these kids that were coming to race, and because their parents obviously knew who he was, and that's why they were there. But dude, that race was unbelievable.
You'll be surprised, dude, when you're done racing and stuff. It won't be long, and all of a sudden, the guys that you like Robbie, they won't know who he is.
I know.
Guys like Tedesco. I mean, it'll only take 3, 4, 5 years, and all of a sudden they're like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, that's crazy.
When I had the Lawrences on, we did their show up at TLD, and I'm taking them through Troy's office. I'm like, "Look, that's Danny Magoo Chandler's helmet," and they're they kind of blank stare. I'm like,
"Yeah,
Jeff Matasevich, the chicken," and they're like, "Chicken? Who's chicken?" I'm just like, "What?"
Yeah, unbleable.
Damn it! Yeah. How do you not know this guy?
Yeah,
but I'm like,
crazy.
They weren't even born. You know, these guys were done racing before they were even born, and I gotta, time flies, But anyway, it's funny. You'll see it happen to you. You'll be saying something to some young kid, like, "Who's Ricky Carmichael?" I mean, it'll be like that. And you're gonna be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, I know. I catch it all the time. I was, teammates with Jet and Hunter, and same thing. We get to talking about old guys and racers, and they're like. And I'm like, bro, what? It seems crazy to me, but they grew up in an era where RV was the most dominant. And I'm like, dude, I was racing pro and RV was you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just crazy to me. But yeah, it's just the way it goes.
I feel like too, and I probably rant about this all the time, but if you talk to a baseball kid or a football kid or a basketball guy, right? You're a basketball guy. If you talk to a young basketball player and he's into basketball, he knows who Kareem is. He knows who Larry Bird is. A bit of your history about the sport, right?
Yep.
Our sport misses that, dude.
I don't know why either.
I don't either.
I've kind of had the same conversations with people because me and Justin, we just loved it so much. And even Justin, he's more passionate at times about certain things than I am. And, he knows more stuff, data, things like that than even I do. But it's crazy to me. I would talk to some kids and they literally are clueless. And I'm like, how do you not know that? You know, like obviously Hannah and even Guy Cooper, all those dudes were way before my era. But, you know, I went back and watched everything I could watch.
Yeah.
You know, like the greatest race ever, everyone knew what that was and how that went down and everything. And I wanted to know what that was too. And that was in the 80s, you know. So, like, I had to go back and see it because I'm like, dude, this is our sport. And these guys were gnarly. They were so good at what they did. It was crazy.
I mean, and this isn't taking anything away from the best guys now, but, like, if you go watch RJ and Wardy and
Nasty.
Damon, dude, for the
know.
equipment, like,
Yeah.
they were getting – and then go back even further to
know.
Costa on that
Yeah.
old pile of junk.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to see them. I've just seen clips, but, like, they were getting it.
Yeah, they were nasty. And even those guys, like even, you know, you watch guys like I always go back and watch all these Guy Cooper races because he got second almost every race, it seemed like. He never won a Supercross. But for him to get so close and then to watch guys like Ricky Johnson and, dude, all these guys that were so iconic in that era, and you think, like, you're like, dude, they look like what we would look like if we were riding those bikes on those tracks. They, like, that was the upper echelon, top of the top, you know? So it's really cool to go back and look. And I think to be a historian of what you love is important. You have to know who these guys are, where the history was, like how the sport has got to where it's at. Like, you have to see that first. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's good to hear you say that because I find, like, a lot of younger riders there's no value in it to them.
Yeah,
They're
clueless.
like, oh, that's like old, you know.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I don't know how.
Yeah,
but
it's a bummer.
It's crazy.
It's not good for our sport. Like,
No,
you know.
no.
Okay, we got a little sidetracked there. So tell me about your first trip to Loretta's. Like, you know, I didn't go till I was 15 or something. So
Okay.
these kids like you that started going when you were 4, 5.
Yeah,
you were
I
a
was
little
a
kid.
baby. Yeah, I was tiny.
What were you thinking, or did it even register where you were and what was?
Yeah, not
going
really.
on?
Yeah. I mean,
You're
at the time, it's just another race kind
Yeah.
of, but it was more a big deal because we were gone a week. That was like the big thing. Is, we're going to be gone for like a full week. This must be like a bigger race than some of the other ones where we're gone just on the weekend.
Yeah.
But dude, we were, I mean, just podunk, it seemed.
But did you recognize how big of an event it was, or were you just more like, hey, after the motos, let's go play in the creek.
That's all.
Let's
it
go
was.
ride
Yeah.
bikes.
I think it was more that. Just like there's so many kids here to, like, you know, go do fun stuff with afterwards that, like, that was the big deal. And then it wasn't really till afterwards, you know, I think I got the first year like 30th or something on a P-dub, and I was like, whoa, like these kids are good, you know. Like, I thought I was good, and then I came here and I did terrible, and then after that we progressed. You know, I got better and better every year. Then a few years got a little worse or whatever, but it was really after the first few years we were going until it, like, kind of hit me like, oh, this is like a bigger deal, you know, because when you're little, I didn't put that together. I was just trying to have fun with my friends and toy dirt bikes and the creek and all that stuff. I had no idea. So, it took a few years at least to figure that out.
So were you and Justin at this time, like, going to these nationals together and stuff?
I think maybe after the first one, yeah.
Okay.
I think after that we were like, hey, are you guys going to go to Loretta's? Is that what you want to do? I think Justin, he went maybe a year or two after I had initially went.
Okay.
I don't think he was there the first year or two that I went, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, after that, it was every single year we did everything together.
Yeah.
I mean, local races, state series, Ponca, Loretta's. I mean, we did everything. He was a year older than me, so, like, sometimes we would be on different, you know, classes and stuff like that. But for the most part, every time, we were all together.
Do you ever think about how gnarly it was that your parents would take a whole week off? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, were you doing like mini O's and stuff too back then?
We didn't do mini O's till later,
Okay.
but that one was the one that always got us. I mean, Oklahoma to Florida, and it was so expensive. You had double entries. It was like you were gone longer. That one was a really expensive race for us. So my dad was like, if we had to miss one, let's miss that one. But we went. I mean, dude, we kept going. And, dude, I look back at it now that I'm older. I mean, I don't have kids yet or anything like that, but I'm just like, dude, I have no idea how they did it.
Same.
No idea. I mean, like, my poor sister, and, you know, I have a little brother that he didn't come around till, you know, I was 10 or 11 or so. But, dude, it's just crazy. I mean, so much money was spent. Took out a second mortgage on the house just to pay for some dirt bikes at the time. And then whenever Ryan Holiday called me, or Dave Gallen, actually, he was the Team Green guy. Whenever I got signed to them as an 85 rider, that was like my dad was like, dude, we made it. Like, we're getting free bikes. This is unbelievable. So that was like the big break for me whenever I did that on 85s. But, man, before that, I don't know. I mean, I was rocking 2 or 3 year old gear, you know, old bikes, old everything. So we just didn't have the money to do it straight up. So I still don't know how we did what we did. Honestly, I don't.
I'm so I don't know whether to be impressed by these parents or just like shake them by the shoulders and go, what are you doing?
Yeah, literally. I mean, I think that about my dad. I'm like, dude, how? Why? Like,
Yeah,
what? Like, what are you doing?
It's crazy, dude. And you don't think about it until you understand how much it costs.
Yeah.
And you go, hold on, wait, we stayed in a hotel for a week, paid all the gas. You weren't working, so you're either burning your holiday vacation time or whatever, you know, and then entries and, you know, like, it's 10 grand probably for just that week.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you can do it cheaper, but it's like if you're tent camping, but who the hell's doing that out there?
Yeah. I mean, at the time, we were getting by with what we had. Like, we were scraping the bottom of the barrel for sure. Like, we had no money whenever I was younger, you know, all the way through, really. But that's what made me want to do it. I wanted to help try and repay, you know, my parents for all the sacrifice and everything they did for me. And going up into, you know, going to the pro ranks, I think that helped a lot, you know, just because I'm like, man, like, they didn't have to do any of this, and look how much they did to try and get me to a point, because I was always wondering, like, why would you do this? You know, like, what is it? My dad's kind of maybe living through me, or, you know, like, he always wanted to have these opportunities, but he couldn't. He didn't have parents that could even afford to get him there. So for him, he was like, well, I at least want to give you a chance. Like, if it doesn't work, then, dude, we had great memories. We were closer as a family because of this. We were gone every weekend together. Like, I would never regret anything. Yeah. And that's so cool to hear once you become an adult, you know, you're like, oh, I get it, you know. But I mean, we struggled tremendously all the way up through as amateurs. We had nothing at all.
And I think for most people, that's, you know, this isn't a rich sport typically. I think it's changing a little bit to that way, but it's always been blue collar. Yeah,
it has to be.
And I just see these families, you know, and I'm like, damn, okay. But like, I love it. You know, my whole relationship with my dad, all of our memories are racing.
Yeah, every one of mine.
You know?
Yeah, every one of mine. We didn't do the family vacation, you know, where we go to Florida or Mexico. Or like, I didn't even go on a vacation until I was 17 years old. You know, I didn't even know what that was. Every vacation we did was
Loretta's.
Loretta's every single year. So that's just the way it went for us, you know. So, yeah, it was it's crazy to see the sacrifice, but the blue-collarness of the sport makes it what it is, and I love that about it. I think it's great.
So what year did you get the Team Green Ride? That was kind of your big first bump?
Yeah, that was the big one. That would have been 2000, going into 2007, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. That was my second year on 85s. I'd just gotten off of 65s, and my 65 year, I had a really good year.
Yeah, you got second in 06.
Yep.
65, 10 to 11 stock. So you were fifth, second, fourth. I mean, you were putting in good rides.
Yeah, second and fourth, I think, that year on KTM 65. I got some help from Brent Jernigan, I think was his name, at Champion Cycles. He gave me a KTM 65 because I've been doing really well all the way up until that point through Whitney, you know, all that kind of stuff. And went to Loretta's, got second behind Coop in the one class, and then the other class, I don't remember who won it, maybe Zach Bell or something like that. And right after that, I got a Team Green Ride. So that was our big break right after that.
I was looking through one of these. Maybe it was this 2010, the schoolboy. You got second?
Yeah.
And I was just looking through the list of who was in there with you, and some of them now are escaping me. Maybe it was Cooper Webb. Was he in your class?
In 10? No, not in 10. In 10.
Who would have won that year?
Luke Rensland won the 125 title. But me, going into that, I thought Savacci, Oldenburg won the 125 title at Ponca the week before. Rode really, really well. But I thought that was a pretty competitive class, and that one I should have won that one by far.
I mean, you were right there.
Yeah, I went 3-1-4, I think. I was in the lead the last moto, crashed twice.
But maybe I got this wrong. One of these 2 years, Axel Hodges was in there. And he was like 19.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
That was his end of his racing stuff.
Yeah.
So was there a race or a year or a moment where things clicked? I mean, it seems like probably this year here in 2006. Was there something that kind of clicked, or just were you a gradual progression, you think?
I think more just gradual. Even 2006, like I won my first title at World Mini. Jesse Nelson got a flat in one of the 65 races, and I was in second. He ended up having to pull off, and I won that title, and that was like a huge deal because I'd never won anything at an amateur level, you know, amateur national level. So my dad was just like super excited. He thought that was the biggest thing ever. Then gradual progression, really. Got the Team Green Ride, but I didn't really understand what that was still, even, you know, whenever I had it. It was more whenever I got a little more serious. I started to go to the first summer I went to Robbie's. I think was the first time I was like, oh, okay, like this is more serious than I even think that it was, and then I have a chance to actually like maybe do something with this rather than just I'm just having fun, you know. After that first summer is probably when I started to be like, okay, like this could be something.
Yeah, there's usually a race or a year or something where you're like, you start to see, oh, okay, there might be a future in this for me. And then at least a lot of the stories I hear,
Yep.
it happened with me, is like it kind of shifts your paradigm a little bit. And
Oh, yeah.
now there's a goal.
Big
Where
time.
before you're just, you're racing for fun and you want to win, but like you don't have any kind of vision of what it might be.
No, I mean, you just don't know until you know, so you're just like, I have no idea. And then watching Trey do it was the biggest thing. And then Bogle was right ahead of me. And, he had some really, really good amateur years, Justin did. So we battled each other every weekend. And then I would see him go and do really, really well at some of these amateur races. And I was like, I have to do what he's doing. I think his might have been 2011 or maybe 2010, 2011. We were always like good, like we'd go to amateur races, podium, maybe win a few titles throughout the year. But his 2010 year was incredible. I think he won every class he entered at World Mini, went to Vegas or went to Loretta's, went 6 for 6, won everything.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, Schoolboy 2, 250B, like the really, really good classes, he dominated. So that was like what I thought I had to do. So I'm like, the next year I have to do what he did because I saw where it took him. He went 6 for 6. Signed with Geico. That's where Trey was. Justin was falling right in line. So I was like, for me, I have to do the same thing. And if I miss that boat, that's it. I clearly didn't do that. But the whole time, that's all I thought as I started to get older. When I was younger, like I said, nothing really clicked until I really got onto big bikes. Everything before that was like, we're having fun and we'll just see what kind of happens. Yeah. But watching Justin's progression and the way he was doing it was like, I have to follow exactly what he's doing.
Did you almost feel like some pressure, like you're getting left behind?
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. Just because of the fact that Trey had just done it like 2 to 3 years prior or however long ago before it was. But, watching Justin do it was so like, because I'd beat him so many times, at these local races and all this stuff. And then once we got older, like onto big bikes, he, really started to progress. And I was kind of, I don't want to say stalling out, but I definitely didn't have the progression like he did, where he went from being a guy that was in top 5 podiums to like he was dominating, amateur nationals, like big ones, where I was like still kind of just stuck where I was. I had a lot of injuries those few years. That didn't help me. But still, I was definitely stuck, and he was progressing so fast. I was like, dude, if I don't do it whenever he did it, like, going schoolboy to B year, stuff like that, I was like, maybe it's not going to work. I had no idea. So, those were some really, really tough years because I had some of my biggest injuries those like 3 or 4 years. My last years as amateurs were the toughest.
And it's hard to watch guys that you grew up with, let alone someone who you consider a friend, but like you were an equal to him racing locally. Mm-hmm. So when you see them kind of start to move forward and you're not, it's it's like it builds up like this anxiety and you're like, man, I got to get going.
Yeah, I mean, it was devastating because it was always weird with me and Justin. Like his dad and his dad and my dad had 2 totally different approaches to racing. Like my dad was like the chill as a cucumber. It was fun. We had a great time. If Justin beat me, it was almost like that's a little more expected. Like he's a little older. He was good, obviously. Clearly, he was incredible whenever we were younger, all the way through his career. But it was just a little more expected, I think. But whenever I beat Justin, his dad like wouldn't talk to him. Essentially, he's pissed.
Really?
He couldn't believe that that I beat him. And so Justin had a completely different approach to racing whenever we were younger. And we talk about it all the time now that we're older and we can talk about this shit. But it was just so funny because it was like he had this insane pressure to beat me every single weekend. Where me, I didn't really have that because I was like, well, if I beat him, cool. But if not,
cool.
Whatever. Like we're still going to go ride pit bikes for 3 hours after this. It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So it was just a completely different dynamic. And I think that helped him a little bit more in a sense of like having this like pressure all the time to do it. Where me, it was just like, dude, I'm just here. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
So it was just completely different.
So you transitioned into Amateur A this year in 2013?
Yeah. Yep, that was supposed to be my last amateur year, really.
Okay.
And I guess technically it was, but same thing. I got hurt a handful of times. I won a few titles that year. I think
Team Green still?
Yeah, still Team Green. Okay. Once I got Team Green in 2007, I was Team Green 7, 8, 9. I got dropped in 2009. I was on my own for 2010. Did really well in 2010. Then I got Team Green again, 11, 12, and 13.
Okay.
So, yeah, I had just a 1-year break. But otherwise, yeah, last amateur year, Loretta's I put so much pressure on myself that year at Loretta's. It was terrible. I mean, that's probably the worst I've ever done at Loretta's. It was terrible. Terrible year. And after that, I was like, man, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I was so confused.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I left Loretta's in 13, and I was like, I have no idea what to do now. My whole thing was like, I'm going to go Loretta's. I want to win the Horizon Award. There's been a Geico rider that has won it every year prior to that. If I win that award, I could probably get signed by somebody, and then I could go race pro. It went terrible. Robbie was so frustrated with me at the time. He was like, dude, you have to go race an outdoor. Like, you have to go, like, try and do something to try and, like, get your name out there a little bit more than what you just did at Loretta's. And I was like, all right. And I kind of had a little bit of a nagging injury at Loretta's that year. I showed up to Elsnor anyway, just trying to, like, kind of see what would happen, and that went horrible. So I was like, what a waste.
Yeah, that was your one
terrible.
race.
Yeah, in 13, yeah.
Elsnor, you got 37th. Terrible track.
Yeah.
First of all.
No, it was a shock, honestly. I showed up there. Practice actually went okay. I qualified, like, somewhat close to Bogle, and it was just funny. Like, I wasn't close, but I wasn't too terribly far back. We go up on the gate, and it felt like amateurs. I'm just kind of bullshitting with him at the gate, and it was really funny. But I had this insane, like, pressure feel at that race. I don't know why. I still can't explain it to this day. But first moto, actually got a pretty good start and crashed, within the first, like, 2 turns. Got up, crashed again, got lapped, like, twice because I'd already been down a few times, pulled off. I'm like, dude, I think I'm going to retire. Like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it. The first time the guys came around to lap me, it was Eli, Kenny, and somebody else. And like I said, I'd already been down twice, couldn't start the bike. I was so far back, and this is maybe 5-10 minutes into the race. And they passed me going so fast, and I was like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I can't not be out here. I just felt so shocked by how everything went that I was like, dude, I think I might be done. Maybe I need to go to college or something. I think I need to be out. Went back home, kind of licked my wounds for a little while. Then Robbie's the one that actually kind of got me, up off my feet to go try and do something else. And that honestly was probably the best thing I could have done, though, was go to Elsnor, because it was such a shock that I was like, dude, if I want to do this, I have to take it so much more serious than what I'm doing right now, and I have to elevate everything. Mm-hmm. So, like, as soon as I came back from Elsnor, after the first, like, week or two of pretty much being like, I suck, it was, like, pretty much full on, like, how can I figure this out type deal, because I did not want to go to college. That was, like, my thing. I was like, dude, if I suck at this, I'm going to have to go to college or go work a 9-to-5, and I don't really want to do either one of those. So I'm like, let me take a crack at this maybe a few more times and,
Were you
see
still
what happens.
On Team Green?
Yeah. Actually, Ryan Holiday helped me go to Elsnor.
Okay.
He was like, yo, you can race the bike, which it was my bike, but they gave me like a few little extra parts to go race at Elsnor. Still a Team Green guy, but after that, he was like, dude, we can't bring you back to race amateurs again, so you kind of have to figure it out. He was like, but I can talk to Babbitt's for you. Maybe I can get you a deal to race ArenaCross, because I had nothing at all. So I was like, okay, like, if they'll give me a ride, I'll go race ArenaCross. Like, I have nothing else to do. So right after that's whenever I got the deal to go race ArenaCross for Babbitt's in 14.
Okay.
Yeah, did a full season with Team Babbitt's with Zach Ames as my teammate and Tyler Bowers.
Okay.
So that was cool.
And how did that go? Take me through that season, because ArenaCross is a different animal.
It was no joke.
Back in my day, in the 1900s, thought, I'm going to go do these couple of ArenaCross races and show these guys where the bears shit in the woods.
Yep.
And Mike Jones, sent me out of the stadium in the first turn. And I was like,
It's a different ballgame, dude.
Yeah.
I kind of went in there thinking, like, dude, I'm way better than these guys. I have no idea who the hell they even are, other than, my teammates on Babbitt's. And I was like, yeah, I should go mop the floor with these guys. Like, it's not a problem. And, I knew ArenaCross really heavily because of Robbie. Like, he raced it, So I was like, oh, no, not a problem. And I get there, and I got my ass handed to me, like, every single weekend. It was just – I couldn't believe it almost. It was like the same thing. I went to Elsnor, got embarrassed. Going to 14 ArenaCross, I'm getting embarrassed every single weekend. But then you race so often, I had a few of these races that were, like, decent, you know. I won a main at one of these races, but I never won an overall in ArenaCross ever. Bowers won every one of them, and Zach Ames had the red plate a majority of that year. Then Bowers ended up winning the title, but I watched him win the title that year and then go in as a fill-in on PC and won the last race at Vegas.
Right, yeah.
awesome race. Like, and at the time, obviously, I just raced with him all winter, and I didn't know what to think about that either. I was just like, dude, maybe I just suck. I don't know. Like, I just don't think I have it. Couldn't figure it out. Really, really struggled. Then I got an opportunity to race in Costa Rica right after that, just because of Racing ArenaCross. Bowers went the year before. Ames went the year before, and luckily they just needed another guy. And they're like,
was
hey,
it Supercross or ArenaCross?
No, all outdoor stuff.
Outdoor stuff.
Yeah,
okay.
Outdoor stuff. It was a full outdoor series that was like 9 or 10 races. That got set up through a buddy of mine, Casey Huntley. He was the one that was responsible for putting the pieces together to do that trip, because I knew nothing about it. I was like, dude, I don't even know where Costa Rica is. Like, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But they were like, well, we'll just see how the first race goes. I went through ArenaCross, same thing, licked my wounds all winter. Got my ass handed to me. Got into a fight with, Kelly Smith of all people. And,
Did you really?
Oh, mental. Yeah, completely
Over what?
mental. Now, dude, I don't even remember what the hell it was. I think I took him out or stuffed him or did something. And this was like his last year of racing competitive, I think. He rode for Team Faith, KTM.
Okay, I
remember. And, it was just hilarious now looking back at it. But we come off the track. He was pissed. He was like, dude, what the hell? He's yelling. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I'm like, maybe I took him out, but I don't really remember. And he swings at me. We're like sitting there, wrestling around on the ground. I'm trying to hit him, but we all have our helmets on. Like, it's really stupid. And it was just so funny because, dude, I thought Kelly Smith was like a huge deal. He raced, Supercross for so many years that I was like, this is so random. I just got into a fight with Kelly Smith, like just super random.
Yeah.
But it was a really, really tough, but a good development, like growing year.
Yeah.
I really needed that year to like kind of realize like, these guys are racing for paychecks. Like, this isn't fun anymore. This is like, these guys have bills to pay, and that's why they're here. So for me, that was like the biggest realization I had. Was like, okay, this is like, people are making money. This is serious. Figure your shit out. You almost have to like have this chip on your shoulder and, win or die trying every time you're on the bike type approach. So
how did it go in Costa Rica?
Costa Rica was great. The first time I went down there, like I said, super random deal to get to do that. But when they said, hey, you want to go to race in Costa Rica, I was like, dude, what else am I going to? Same thing. I have nothing going on after I get done with the last round in Salt Lake City or wherever we were for ArenaCross. I had nothing.
Yeah.
And Costa Rica was 2 or 3 weeks after that. So they're like, we'll pay you $500 and that's it. But just go down there and race and we'll just see what happens. I was like, all right, whatever. And I tell the story all the time because I think it's great. But when I get down there, it was a used bike, and it rains all the time in Costa Rica. Like, dude, everything on this bike is, like, rusted because it's been sitting out the rain. Like, the chain adjuster, there's a little 8 and a 10 to go up against the axle block. It was a 8mm socket that was just stuffed in there, and then it was just put all the way up again. I was like, oh, my God. Like, this was crazy. But I was like, yeah, screw it. I'll just figure it out, And I went there and I won the first race, and they were like blown away. They couldn't believe it, because Bowers was the guy to beat. There was a few locals that were actually really good at the time, and Roberto Castro was the guy that was like, he had won everything. He came and raced in the States a few times, and I won the first race. And after that, they were like, all right, we have to have you back. You're, the points leader now. So then we negotiated some stuff, and, I was able to make a little bit of money every weekend, and that really, really kept me afloat. During that whole summer, I made enough money for the first, I think 3 or 4 races that whenever I came back, I went and bought a bike from a local dealership.
Oh, you don't want to ride the rusted?
At the time, Babbitt's had just reached out to me and they're like, hey, we need our 250Fs back because they gave me a bike to race. So I was riding a 250F back at home, and then I would go on the weekends in Costa Rica and race a 450. And
okay. You mean at home you bought a bike?
Yeah, at home
okay,
I had to buy a bike because I was like, and after the first round, they gave me a new bike after that. So that was like, thank God. So then whenever I made enough money, I came back. Babbitt's needed their bike back. I gave it back to them. Then I went and bought a bike, I think, the next week. So I had a brand new 450. I was stoked. I was like, thank God, I have a bike to ride now. And that really, like I said, kept me afloat. I went back down there and raced. I think there was 9 rounds that year. Able to win the championship over Bowers and all the guys that were down there. So that was really cool. I hadn't won anything in so long. I was like, this is cool as hell to win something. So, and I was making good money. So it was awesome. They really took care of us. It was about as 5-star as it could get for what we were doing. And that was like a really, really cool experience.
That's something that we talk about on the show a good bit is once you move into pro racing, you don't win. I mean, most people stop winning.
Yeah.
If you got to that point, you won a lot locally, regionally, maybe even amateur nationally. But once you get into the pro class, it's like there's usually one or two guys,
Yeah.
cleaning up, and everybody else is fighting for what's left. And
Yeah, the scraps.
like you said, just to win something. I remember winning
Yeah.
a heat race, when I'd have like a dry spell, and you're just like,
Yeah, I can't believe it. Yeah, you're just stoked.
top of the world,
Honestly,
Yeah. It just feels so good to win again.
It does. It really does. So doing Costa Rica was like cool because, like I said, I just got my ass kicked by Bowers all winter long at ArenaCross. Like, it wasn't even close. I couldn't come near him. So then to go to Costa Rica and to beat him, I was like, oh, this is like sick. Like I couldn't believe where I was and what I was doing because he had already signed to Pro Circuit for the next year. He was going to race Supercross. So for me, I was like, dude, this is a guy that's going to race Supercross. He just won a race. Like, he's legit as hell. And I was beating him on the weekends in Costa Rica, and I was like, this is, like, just really good for my confidence. And then I would go back home, and that summer was the summer that Trey was obviously ripping. He was riding really good, and I would ride with him all the time, and I was able to run with Trey sometimes during the week. Not all the time, but I had my days where I would run with him during the week, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're going so fast. So it was like a good confidence builder, and I always wanted to go to an outdoor that summer on a 450, but I just never got a chance to. But that was my whole idea, was I was just going to show up and wing it, see what happens. Then after that, went through the whole summer, and like I said, that was a good transition, made good money, won some races, and then got signed to Crossland Honda right after that. My hero, Guy Cooper, was the team manager.
Oh, yeah, Crossland Honda.
He was the one that kind of made that whole thing happen. That was the first-year team. And, I wanted to work with Guy. I thought that'd be the coolest experience ever. So when they came to me and they're like, hey, do you want to, try and race Supercross? I was like, dude, I do not want to race ArenaCross again. I'd rather go race Supercross, try my luck there, and kind of see what happens. So I got a cool opportunity to do that.
So 2015 was Crossland Honda.
Yep.
You just rode to the East.
Yep, very first year.
And who else was on that team, man? It's bringing back memories now. I totally had forgotten about them.
Yep.
Who was on that?
So that whole year, we had myself on East Coast. Kyle Peters was on that team as well. We had Freddie Noren and Tommy Hahn, if I'm not mistaken, that year. And then I was only there for 1 year, but we had a sponsor that was helping out Tommy Hahn at the time. It was GPI, some awesome dudes from Kansas, the Pure Brothers, and they had some influence in the team. They, helped sponsor the team, did whatever. So it was a cool experience. Like, it was awesome for my first year. It was a loose program because Guy was running the ship over there, which is cool. But it was honestly really, really cool. They gave me an opportunity, and I was so thankful that I got to go race Supercross because that's all I wanted to do. My first race was at Dallas, 4 hours from my house in Oklahoma. So such a cool experience, and I was just so grateful I got to do it. And I actually did better in Supercross than I did really in ArenaCross. So I was like, okay, maybe I can figure this out. I don't know, but maybe there's a chance. So that was a cool year, really fun year. It was short-lived. I only raced like 5 races, but it was a cool year.
Well, I mean, you got a 6th and an 8th. I mean,
yep,
a 6th your first year in. It's like.
No, I was stoked. Yeah, I mean,
that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, one of the races, Atlanta 1 or Atlanta 2. There was 2 back-to-back Atlantas that year. I qualified really well. I think right behind Bogle, and he had the number 1 plate at the time, and so I was like, hey, like that was good. That was like a shot in the dark, and it worked a little bit. And I was working with Marshall Plum. He was in Stillwater. He was doing our suspension and stuff like that. So
that's Cooper's old mechanic.
Yeah, it was a really, really good group of people. Like, I was around Guy Cooper, Marshall. There were some young mechanics and stuff like that, but it was a good group. It was really, really fun. Like, we had a really good time. First year team, so we were trying to like figure things out. But dude, that was so much fun. That was one of the funnest few races I had. But yeah, 6th at one of the races, 8th at another one. I got hurt though at St. Louis. That year, and then did my ACL that year at St. Louis, and I was out for the whole rest of the year. So then I'm right back to the drawing board, kind of struggling to figure it out.
So take me into 2016. You signed with Star?
No, that was the year I signed with Rock River. Year.
Rock River, okay.
Yeah, so going into 16, they didn't really know, Crossland Honda didn't know if they were going to race again. They were like, we don't know if we were going to do this team. It was Chris Crossland that owned it, and he was like, I just can't decide what to do. He didn't really want to race. He spent a lot of money. He realized, like, to run a race team, you have to spend a shitload of money. And he was like, I don't really know if I want to do this anymore. Jimmy Albertson was a part of the whole program and stuff like that. And they were like, hey, we need this Honda back. Because once I got back riding, I rode a stock 250 Honda for a month or two. And then, because it was a long recovery from my ACL. And then after that, I was like, I have no idea what to do. Now I'm right back at square one, like I was pretty much in 2013, where I was like, dude, I have nothing, no idea what to do. Robbie had some bikes from Yamaha that he got, and he had a 450 that was his, and he was like, hey, just ride my 450, just to ride something. So I rode his bike for like 2.5 months. I blew it up at one point, and then I had no money to fix it, and I'm just like, bro, sorry. Like, I don't know. Like, that sucks, but, like, I'll try and help if I can. But luckily, Robert's the man. He rebuilt that thing for me, and I got to ride it again the next week. But, dude, I had nothing and no idea what to do. And then Robbie had known Christina Denny pretty well, and kept bugging her, like, hey, you need to get Colt a ride. Like, let him try and get this opportunity. And that year I talked to Ziggy at Factory Connection. He always did my stuff as my later year as amateurs, my suspension. I love Ziggy. I thought he was great. And so I begged and pleaded for him to give me a Geico ride. Because I was like, dude, I rode Hondas. It was great. Just give me an opportunity and let me see what I can do with it. And then I kind of thought at one point I had that ride. I was like, maybe that's my opportunity. And then I think they signed Jimmy Dakotas. I think it's like the last minute for that spot. So that was off the table, and I'm like, nothing again. So Robbie convinced Christina to give me a ride, but I didn't even get a Yamaha 250 until very end of November, 1st of December. And they wanted me to race West Coast. And I was like, shit, that's kind of tight. But I was like, I'll figure it out.
No problem.
Yeah, I was like, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I just want the opportunity. I want to ride this bike because the Yamaha, that was kind of their new generation Yamaha, and that bike was really good.
Yeah.
Star had just started to do really well. So I was like, dude, just give me an opportunity on that bike. And at the time, Rock River was leasing Yamaha engines through Yamaha. So their bikes were really good. A-Mart had just did really good on it the year prior. I had a lot of confidence. Hey, if you give me that opportunity, I can start to maybe see what my potential is. Because at that point, 14, 15, and 16 were my biggest development years. But after 15, that's by far when everything kind of changed. Like doing my ACL, I took everything so much more serious, elevated everything. I got to be around Trey more, and I saw how serious he did everything. And riding, training, nutrition, everything kind of elevated. So going into 16, I was like, I felt really prepared. I was like, this is as good as I'm going to be if I can get an opportunity. Luckily, she gave me one. I went to Anaheim 1, got a decent finish, and a few weeks later, I got on the podium at Oakland.
Oh, yeah, damn. Look at you, 7.582.
Yep.
Good start to the year.
Yeah, I was setting fourth in points for a while, a majority of the year, and fighting for podiums and kind of that next best guy, behind, at the time, Coop was dominating everything that year. Savachi got his first win at Oakland. I got second. But behind Coop and some of the star guys, I felt like I was maybe one of the better guys. So that was by far the breakout year, for sure. After I got second at Oakland, as Bobby called me that Monday after Oakland. So,
oh, did he?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. The whole thing, Robbie was convinced. He was like, dude, you have to be on Star. That bike is so good. And if you go to Rock River and you just do what I think you can do, maybe there's an opportunity there. So, Robbie set everything up. He had this plan 2 years before it came to fruition. He really was. He kind of spoke that into existence for me.
Wow.
Because I didn't even almost believe it at the time, So, 16 went really, really well. Through the summer was a struggle. I ended up getting hurt with a few more rounds to go. But literally the Monday after Oakland, I talked to Bobby on the phone. And I was like, dude, no way. I can't believe it. Because before the season, I told this story on Gypsy, but before the season, I get to go ride at the Yamaha track, but I had to ride the bottom track, and Star could ride the top one. But through Rock River, I got to at least go to Yamaha. But every single time those dudes, because I came out here to stay right when I got the bike. When I first got the bike, I rode at Robbie's for maybe a week, and then I immediately came to California. So I was like, well, I need to be out here. I'm going to race in California. So the whole month of December, I went everywhere I could go public track-wise because I was trying to just see who I could ride with. And the Star guys were all out here at the time, and so I followed those dudes everywhere. It was probably so annoying. But I would text Coop, yo, are you guys going to Milestone? Yep. All right, I'm going to go to Milestone. So I went to Milestone every single time that I could because I wanted to at least try and get myself on a spot to be around some of these guys. I didn't think, no way did I think I was going to be the best guy. Coop was the guy. But I was like, maybe I could beat a few of the guys or just get in the mix and be near some of the guys, and then maybe that'll draw some attention, and maybe I could get a ride because of that.
It's brilliant. You need to be visible.
You have to. And at the time, I'd been in Oklahoma for so long that no one knew what the hell I was doing. And then I would go and, kind of shit the bed at some of these races. And so I was like, dude, I'm killing myself here. I'm not doing what I want to do. And then nobody's seeing it on top of that. So that was Robbie's whole idea, though. He brought myself and a handful of kids to California because it started to get cold in Oklahoma. We couldn't really do anything. So for like 3 or 4 years in a row, he would rent a house in Canyon Lake or somewhere for the month or 2 months, 3 months. And all of us would come to California and we'd live with Robbie. We'd train. We'd do all this stuff. So that was huge for him to do that just because he knew it was good for us. So it was a really, really big deal for us. And I mean, I tried to do everything I could, but that was Robbie really concocted all of that. Like he was the mastermind behind all this stuff. And so it was just really, really cool the way it worked. And I got on the podium at Oakland, and then immediately Bobby calls me and is like, yeah, I've been told that you've been, ripping around with our guys in California during the week, and you're fast as hell during the week, and then you go get a podium, you're going to come ride for us. I was like, all right. Like, couldn't believe it. Yeah, I literally could not believe it. I was like, no way. Because in the month of December, while we were out here, dude, me and Robbie would have dinner, obviously every night. I lived with him, and it was like, dude, it was so often that was a conversation. Like, dude, just do well enough to get an opportunity at Star. That was the whole thing. So then when it finally happened, I was like, dude, I cannot believe that. Like, it was almost just too good to be true type situation. So I had an offer from TLD. I talked to Mitch quite a bit because I was a Cowie guy, obviously, as an amateur. But I wanted to be at Star. That's just where I wanted to be. So
the bikes,
it was unbelievable.
I mean, even still, I think it's just a slight advantage.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it was so good, and then I was such good friends with Coop. Like, we raced each other as amateurs, growing up. He was a little younger than me, but we were always racing each other, and we hung out at every amateur national. We would always run around together and be idiots, do all that stuff. So whenever he was there, that was like my in. I knew nobody else there or nothing else about the program, but I knew Coop, and I knew that he was a winner. And that's pretty much what he said. As soon as I called him and told him, like, dude, Bobby called me. Like, he was stoked for me, and I talked to him.
Do you think he was putting in good words for you?
I hope so. And I've asked him before, and obviously, of course, he's like, dude, you're – at the time, obviously, we were really close. So I really do think he was helping push the cause for me. Because then I asked him about it, too. And, I asked Swanee and all the guys once I finally got over there. And, Coop vouched for you. He thought that'd be a great fit. And – all this stuff. So that really, I think, helped me a lot, was having Coop there and having some sort of in. Because like I said, I knew nothing else about the program. So it was just really, really cool, man. I couldn't believe that it worked, to be honest with you, that whole season.
It's an interesting point because, like guys that want to ride for Mitch, you hear this time and time again. They'll just go sit at Pro Circuit and
camp out.
And just every day show up. When you're done riding, you just go in and go, hey, Mitch, I really want to ride for you. I mean, it's awkward. It's almost like you're annoying.
Yeah.
You were following these guys around at local tracks, being in front of them. That kind of stuff, it kind of can't happen with these camps. You can't just go to the goat farm and go ride around with the guys.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So everything changing to what it's changing to is kind of pulling that out of possibility.
Yeah. I think it makes it harder now with the way everything's transitioning to what it is, and no one races anymore. They do SMX races, then you have Loretta's. But outside of that, most of the teams and they don't really care. So it's like it kind of sucks. Whenever I was amateur, you raced as much as you could all the time. And
every weekend if you could find.
And then I was one of the first guys though that really were not first guys at all, but I mean some of the first generation, I guess, of staying and living at facilities. Obviously MTF was going way before we ever had anything at Robbie's, but it was just a different world. In my eyes, my last 3 years of amateur, I was like, well, these kids have an advantage because they're homeschooled and they're riding every single day. I'm still going to public school. I'm behind the 8 ball. And so that, trying to convince my dad we should do this, that helped, though. He was on my side. Okay, we probably need to get you somewhere where you can ride a little more year-round and maybe be more competitive at the races. And was that my problem? No. But it maybe helped, maybe it was a little better than what I even should have been. But, it's just different, man. It's a different world now with facilities and limited races. And, I think SMX, the Futures and all that, or Next, whatever it's called, I think it's great. That's awesome opportunity. But it's just different, man. It's so different than whenever I was racing. When Robbie was amateur, like I said, or pro even, he would race Millville, win the national or top 5 or whatever, then he would race Wednesday night at this local track in Oklahoma City. Yeah. He was racing during the week. You would never hear a top pro that's racing on the weekends race on a Wednesday night. That just wouldn't happen. But back then, that's just what you did. You just raced, you know? So it kind of took away some of the, just the way things were. And I grew up watching that, thinking that was normal, because it was. Yeah. But now it's just, man, it's so different now.
Yeah, I don't know. In my head, I just think you can't simulate a race. You can try. You can line up on a gate at the practice track and everybody goes, but it's like it's just different.
Yeah.
You lack in intensity and racing against people that aren't your teammates. You're going to race them differently a little bit, and I think you learn from that. You learn racecraft. You learn.
Yeah, you have to.
I don't know, man. It's so odd to me. They're racing like 5 times a year.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous too, because now like you hear so many people say all the time, even with teams and amateur guys, and I hate this shit, but they're always just like, we can work with speed. If you got speed, that's great. And I'm like, you're not wrong. You have to have speed, to do anything on a dirt bike. But I see some of the kids that, I mean, dude, I guarantee you go to the farm. I mean, it's probably a little different because I do think he is a little different. But you watch somebody like Hayden, his edge to me is that he's just a racer. Like, he wants to line up and compete, where everyone else is lining up, trying to just simulate what they do during the week.
Yeah.
He is like, dude, I'm lining up to like compete. Like when we get in a situation where push comes to shove, who's going to shove? Like that's where he's so good. He reminds me of Coop. Like that's the way Coop was. Like he was just a competitor. He just loved it. And it seems like sometimes some of the kids, it gets a little lost, because I see some kids during the week that are incredible. And, I'm guilty of it myself sometimes too. And then you go on the weekends and I'm just like, what happened? Like it's kind of nuts. But I think that is a product a little bit of just, we don't race
Not
enough.
racing enough.
Yeah. A lot of these kids just straight up don't race enough. It's tough.
And I almost feel like, one, you aren't developing that competitiveness, right? That every time you do gate drops, man, it's
game on.
It's game on.
Yeah.
But you also build a lot of pressure. Okay, I'm only got 5 chances this year to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you're on the gate, you're like, okay, this is 1 of 5. I got to make it happen. I mean, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a great way to do business. But
I would agree.
It is what it is, man. I mean, it's
I would agree. It's just different nowadays.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened to you at Washougal? You got hurt after Washougal in 2016?
Yes. Got hurt at Washougal. Did meniscus in my knee. Got that fixed. Not a huge recovery, but a little bit of a recovery there. And then whenever I came back, rode my Rock River bike for a handful of weeks, then made the transition to move to California full-time. Moved into Bogle's house. He had a house out here in Corona. Moved in with him full-time because the team was out here. They wanted me to be out here.
The team was stationed out here for a while, huh?
Yeah. They, at the time, they were transitioning from the Elsnor shop that they had to the shop in Temecula. Yeah. So whenever I got to the team, they were still Elsnor, but they were moving into the Temecula shop, and that's where they were from then on until they moved to Tallahassee. So they wanted me to be here. That was kind of one of the things I talked to Bobby, because I wanted to still train with Robbie at the time, but they kind of told me, like, you can do what you want, but we really would prefer you to train with Swanee. That was like one of the biggest things I had to go through, because I was training with Charles Dow as well. Charles Dow and Robbie were kind of like co-training me.
Okay. Charles is a stud.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Such an amazing human. And I really got close with him living out here in 16 for the time that I was here. I went back to Oklahoma for the summer, but Charles was just awesome. I loved working with him. I obviously loved working with Robbie. I trained with him for 10, 12 years. So to make that transition was difficult. Like, I went back and forth so many times on it. Like, do I just tell the team, no, I want to train with Robbie? But it was one of those things where it was like just kind of really frowned upon if I tried to go another direction. So to have that conversation with Robbie was hard. I probably didn't handle it the best, to be honest. I was a young kid and just thinking he'd be stoked for me. But obviously he was bummed to be missing me and, going somewhere else after he'd put in all that work to get me to that point. Like he literally set this up, and then I just leave and go train with someone else. So that's something I think about even to this day. But I wish I probably would have handled it a little better than what I did, because, I mean, they were literally second mom and dad. Like his wife, Ashley, I mean, dude, they did everything for me. From the time I was so little, they took me in like one of their own and taught me everything they could do, and Ashley cooked and cleaned, and Robbie helped me with the riding. I mean, like, dude, they did everything for me. So without them too, there's no way I would be where I'm at today. But that was a hard transition, but made that switch, started training with Swanee, moved to California like full time, and it took off. Had a few rough years, my first few years on Star, but Bobby just kept re-signing me, so that was cool. Every time I got hurt, he would re-sign me again, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Well, so 2017, let's talk a little bit about that season. You rode East.
Yeah. I actually wanted to race West, but going into the season in October, November, I was riding so good out here in California. I was doing everything like great, and had a bike failure, crashed, broke my femur. And,
you did?
Yeah, at the end of 16, going into 17. So when I broke my femur, I was like, shit, that sucks. So like I said, I was supposed to go race west.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's terrible. But it was just a tiny little thing that happened, and it was no one's fault. It was just a freak deal. Yeah. And so that pushed me to East, but I thought there was no way I was going to make East Coast. It was just like way too tight. Because usually femur is like a pretty big one. You're out for like a while.
That's 6 months at least usually.
Yeah, I came back in 3, and it was really, really aggressive. Like, we did everything we possibly could to get me back going. Just because I was riding so good before I got hurt, I was like, dude, I can win now. Like, I have the bike, I have the program. I felt so good. I was faster than pretty much everybody on the team. I thought I could go win. And so we did everything we could to come back. I think first round that year was in Minneapolis. And dude in practice, Swanee, he came over like after the first or second practice, and he was like, I don't know if we should be here. Like, he looked terrible. Like,
really?
I couldn't jump the triples.
How much time did you have on the bike going in?
About 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
It was really tight.
Yeah.
I started riding. I rode outdoors a few days, then we immediately got on Supercross, and I think it was right around 3 weeks. I don't remember exactly, but it was really, really tight. And like I said, that was a big injury. So for me, I was still kind of walking a little not great.
Did you limp for a year?
Yeah, it was
broke
like
mine.
Not good.
It's a year, yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, man, this is kind of a struggle. But the first round, I kind of like pretty much had the whole shot. Me and Dakota Alex came together. It was like this big, crazy looking crash where our bikes got linked and went over the bars. But I came back and rode decent. And then started to progress decently that year. Got on the podium at a few races. Got third at Atlanta, I think, in 17, and kind of was, figuring it out. I was like, okay, maybe I'll be okay.
Yeah, you went from that 10th at the opener to a podium in Atlanta. That had to be like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I'm coming back. Everything will be all right. And then going into what was this 2017, Coop had just bought a facility in. Or a house in North Carolina. I had a facility. He was kind of trying to get everything going, and Star was over being in California all summer. So the plan was Coop and then all the guys on Star, we were going to go to North Carolina for the summer. We went there during a Supercross break right before Daytona. We were riding Coop Supercross track. I got hurt, did meniscus in my other knee. I'm like, man, I was just starting to kind of get it together. So like I said, just made progress, got third, and then immediately set back by another little injury. So missed the rest of Supercross that year, came back to California, did everything I could to get ready for outdoors. And then, honestly, the opening few rounds outdoors were awesome. Like, they were great.
Yeah, you went 6, 5, 7 at the first 3.
Yeah, they were really good.
And then podium at Ironman at the end.
Yeah, had a good, little run there at the beginning. Kind of fell off in the middle. Just struggling to get through like a full season. Then I ended it with a podium, so that was cool. And Bobby was like, I never thought you'd get a podium outdoors, and I was known as like a Supercross only guy at the time, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, got on the podium at the end of the year, and then kind of started to, I thought, get things figured out a little bit at the end. And then same thing going into 18, another rough off season. Had another big injury, broke my humerus. That set me back to East Coast. I was supposed to race West again. Now I'm back on East Coast, rushing to make the first round. Same thing. I had about 3 or 4 weeks on the bike, and that one was a little bit harder for some reason to come back from the humerus. But I went to the very first round in Dallas that year in 18 and got on the podium. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this again. So kind of started to kind of figure it out. I think I raced only a handful of races, and then I ended up re-breaking my humerus again. So then that put me out for 18. I was like, Jesus. Came back and raced outdoors, though. I had a decent, summer. Wasn't anything great. I think I got on the podium at maybe Ironman again or something like that. Not at 4th, something like that. But, that was a tough summer, kind of just trying to figure out the whole outdoor thing. And
dude, it's really hard to come back from an injury and jump right back into racing.
It's tough.
Because you're mentally, you're a little bit like, is this all right? Am I good?
Yeah, it's hard.
The confidence you had built is collapsed.
Yeah,
trying to stack it back up all quickly.
I know. And people that don't really get injured in our sport, they you don't understand it until you're in it. And you see so many guys talk about it, but it's so common in our sport that it's just like whatever, figure it out. But dude, it is so difficult to do that, to keep getting hurt and to keep coming back, and knowing you're off the back foot is hard mentally to try and climb that hurdle. So. But there I was, 3 or 4 seasons in a row of just 15 hurt, only raced 5, 6 races, whatever. 16 almost made it through, but still got hurt. 17 hurt, 18 hurt. I'm just like, dude, can I catch a break? I'm sick of doing this. It was terrible.
You can look at the correlation. If you look at guys who are uber successful in the sport, right? Like, I don't know how far back you want to go, but look at MC.
Yep.
I think his worst injury was he cut his foot on a beer bottle at Havasu.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He didn't have injuries.
It's crazy.
He actually broke his leg, I think his second year racing, but
yeah,
no injuries really.
Yep.
Ricky, he did one ACL. He didn't even crash when he did it.
Yeah.
Right. You know, Stu had a lot, but he also left a lot of championships on the table.
Yeah,
right. So you can just look at a guy and watch how many injuries they have and see the correlation to being able to build confidence, build fitness, build all that stuff.
Yeah.
But every time you get hurt, it's like starting over.
Back at square one. That's
time.
why it's so hard. I mean, even I talk to Will about this all the time, but, you know, I used to ask him because I was close with Will. He was Kansas. I was Oklahoma. And I would always see him. He was obviously older than me, but, you know, whenever he did retire, I was like, dude, why? You know, like, why now? Why did you end up retiring? He was like, dude, like, I'm going up against Dungy, who hasn't gotten hurt in like 9 years. Like, his base of fitness and how many races he's actually raced was insane compared to somebody like Will. You know, he'd been hurt so often. He was like, dude, how am I ever supposed to catch up to somebody like that whenever, dude, I've raced 10 races. This dude's raced, you know, 80 over the past, you know, however many. He's like, dude, it's like impossible. How am I supposed to do that? So it just wears on you. It's hard to keep coming back. It's
cumulative.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, dude. If it's one or two, you know, whatever. But when it's back to back to back to back, and, you know, I see it all the time, even now, like with kids and friends that I have that are younger than me, they try to come back early because they feel like they owe it to somebody, or they just want to get back. We're competitive. We want to compete. We want to race. But I'm like, dude, I'm telling you. Like,
and we also don't sign long-term deals, so you have to get back to racing if you want to try to get a job the next year.
Yeah, and you have to make money. And most of these time, if you miss X amount of races, you're not making as much money as you could. So everyone's got this, like, insane rush to try and get back. But I'm like, man, like, you're going to hurt yourself in the meantime. But it's hard to think about it that way. You know, it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. Okay, 2019.
Yep.
Did you have a multi-year deal with Star? Did you re-sign, or like what was going on there?
No, in 16, going into that, I signed a 2-year deal. So going through 17 and 18, I had done nothing up to this point. But whenever I broke my humerus in 18, Bobby was like, well, I want to re-sign you. Your deal's up, but I'll give you another year. And I couldn't believe that. I was like, awesome. Like, tell me where to sign. I would love to stay here if I can. So then going into 19, I had a decent end of the outdoor series, and then I went and raced a 450 in Montreal. It was like a random race up there. I went and raced that, battled with Malcolm a little bit, and I had a really, really good off season. I was healthy. First off season I had healthy since going into 16. So I just had high hopes. I was like, okay, I'm healthy. I didn't get hurt. So now that I didn't get hurt, I want to race West Coast like I was supposed to the last 2 years. And I went and won Anaheim 1 at the opener, and had the red plate all the way until the break, which was after the mutter at San Diego. I think I was 5 rounds in. So, yeah, I mean, 19 was a good, really big breakout. That was the first time I'd won anything as a pro. I won Anaheim 1, too, which was such a cool race to win. And then,
dude, you were like, if it wasn't for San Diego and then Seattle, I don't know what happened in Seattle, those 2 rounds, those are championship numbers right here. 1, 2, 3, 3, 7, 3, 3, 6 at Vegas. Yeah,
I went all the way through to San Diego. That was Limegate year, and dude, I crashed like 10 times. Like, it was unbelievable.
It was radical.
I could not believe it. I just kept crashing, and I was in a decent position, and I couldn't stay on the bike. I just kept crashing. So after that race, had a mini meltdown. I was like, fuck, there goes a red plate. Like, that's terrible, you know. But after round 1, I had won, and I was in a position I didn't really expect to be in. Like, that's where you want to be, but then when you're in it, you're like, whoa. Like, I didn't think I would have, like, the red plate, you know. So I think I rode maybe a little protective over what I was doing probably through those 5 races, which was kind of a bummer looking back on it now, but that's just what you do. And then going into Seattle, I'd actually just passed Jimmy Dakotas for the lead in that main event. I think it was lap 1 or 2 of the race. Crashed over the bars, big crash on a rhythm section. I actually just had a little cut on my leg, but didn't finish that race, but I felt like I should have won that one, and I could have maybe been right back in the points hunt. But yeah, Fran just ended up going on to win that title, but I had a great year. I was on the podium pretty much almost every round. Had a really, really good year. So I was like a strong showing for me, and I was like, okay, like I'm figuring this thing out slowly.
Yeah.
So I thought, from then on, I felt like, okay, I can be a championship guy. I can get this thing sorted for sure.
And even outdoors in 19, 5, 6, 5, 7, 8, 7, 6, 8, you were inside the top 10 every single round except Buds.
Yeah, I had a really good
Did
year.
you get hurt at Buds?
Yep, got hurt at Buds. So not like hurt, but I got, I guess, I had a concussion at Buds, and that's what ended my run. But if I just would have finished Buds and then whatever was after Buds, I don't remember what the last round was, but it was Buds and one more round. If I would have just finished those 2 rounds, I would have finished high enough in the points. I think I could have got a permanent number that year, which would have been huge for me. Mm-hmm. 'Cause I had that good of a year going, which was really, really cool. And, so that was a really good year for me. I was inside, like I said, podium or top 5, 10 guy every single weekend, no matter what. So that was a good year. I mean, a good, solid, almost made it all the way through to the end of the season year, and that's all I really wanted. So, but then back to nothing again for 2020.
So, but surely Star wanted to keep you, right?
Yeah, actually, after that, I did I take that back. I signed a 2-year deal in 18. So I had 19 and 20 no matter what.
Okay.
So after 19, it was great. Like I said, I was making, decent money. I had a great year. So 20 was almost like championship or bust type approach for me since I had the red plate for so long. AC was moving out of class, all that stuff. So I was like, okay, this is my year. And
this was the weird COVID year too.
Yeah, but just didn't, before we ever even got started, I just didn't make it to the season. I got hurt again preseason. So,
okay.
Were
you supposed to do West again?
Yeah, I was supposed to do West again, but going into 20, and this must have been October range, I think, in 19. I just started riding again from having a break, at the end of the season, and did my shoulder. So I was out for a while.
What, AC or what?
No, that was labral and rotator cuff.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so that was a good one.
Full shoulder.
Yeah, that was a good one that year. So, 20, I was off for a really long time. And if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't have raced Supercross at all. But everything got pushed back so long that.
That's right.
Yeah, going into Salt Lake, the team wanted me to race just because I could maybe go help Shane, possibly. At that point, it looked like there's no way in hell I was going to race. I was going to wait till outdoors, and then even making outdoors would have been tough. But no one had any idea what was going on because of COVID. It was such a weird time. I just did all the rehab I could possibly do, and then started riding, and I was like, well, we'll just kind of figure this out as we go. No one knows what's going on. So, I ended up coming back and racing the COVID races at Salt Lake that year in 20. So,
and the first one was rough, 15th.
Yeah, crashed on the start, yeah.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, I came into me, Shimoda, Pierce Brown, all of us crashed together. Bars were all bent. Had to go in the mechanics area. But yeah, I got second in the heat race right behind Shane. I was like, okay, I'm back to racing. Everything feels normal, Then I got on the podium a handful of those other races. Pretty much every other race after that I was on the podium.
Yeah, 2, 3, 3, 22 at the Salt Lake 7.
That was the East-West shootout. That was the last round. And that was a race Sexton in the heat race, because it was one East, one West. He jumped on me in a rhythm section, broke my hand. And so I was out right then. So it was such a weird deal, but he was trying to pass me on the last lap, and there was a 3 into a really tight turn and then a triple right after it, and I was jumping 2-1 to the inside, and he tripled to the inside, landed just right on top of my hand, and ended up breaking my hand in a few places. So then we were out again.
Surgery?
Yeah.
God dang, dude.
Yeah. So out again right after that, and then
I thought when we had Bogle on here, I thought, man, he's really been through a lot of injuries. Yeah. You guys are battling once again.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy because he never got hurt as an amateur ever. He did his knee on his last year's Super Mini. But other than that, he never got hurt ever.
Really?
He was just resilient. I was always the one that was dealing with injuries, and especially making the transition from Super Mini to big bike. I got hurt a lot those first few years, and then he turned pro, and it seemed like he was just getting hurt all the time too. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on? It's so weird. It's crazy.
What do you think? What is it like? Because you look at a guy like, say, Townley, who's, I thought one of the most talented racers ever.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Smooth as butter.
Yep.
Technically perfect. But he got hurt all the time.
Yeah.
So it isn't technique.
Yeah.
What the hell is it? How does one guy get hurt all the time and another guy whoever?
Dude, I've wondered this for so long. Because even as a pro, my first few years of being hurt, you always do the why me thing, because you're like, what the hell? How is this possible? I'm hurt again. Because I didn't think my riding style was erratic or crazy or anything. So I was just like, I don't understand. I just must hit the ground wrong, or I don't know. And, dude, I've tried to figure it out so many times, and I honestly have no idea. Like, I thought maybe guys were more limber. Maybe they did yoga or something. They roll better, Like, I don't know. Or I don't know. I mean, because, dude, I see, especially now that I'm older, dude, I see Chase Sexton hit the ground so hard, and he's just built like a brick shit. He just pops right back up.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, if I would have done that, I'm out for 6 months. It's crazy.
Shatter like glass.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
He is thick. He's put a lot of muscle on.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
So maybe there is something to that.
Yeah, but then I look at someone like Jet. He's nowhere near the physical, specimen of Chase. And to me, Jet is like the epitome of, correcting yourself before it gets bad because he's so perfect on the bike.
Yeah.
Like, if something's about to go bad or – you'd have these crazy crashes that James would do where he wanted to beat Ricky so bad if, the rear end started to go, exiting a turn, and all he had to do was, just back off the throttle a little bit to correct itself, he didn't do it. Mm-hmm. He just went the other way and went more wide open, and he would crash. Where Jet, to me, is the epitome of, control it before it gets uncontrollable, and he always figures it out. He adapts so good.
Yeah. And
he's the epitome of doing everything right on a dirt bike, so that's injury prevention number one, between him and his brother both. You see the progression that Hunter's made, and you're only able to do that if you can stay healthy,
Yeah.
But those guys have got it figured out. They do a really, really good job, but that's the epitome of not getting hurt, is just doing everything right, and doing it proper so that you can stay racing every weekend. Even if you're not the best here or there, you have to be there every weekend. And in Jet's case, he is the best everywhere.
And he's there every weekend.
Yeah, and he's there every weekend. But, dude, I don't know. I don't know what it is about people getting hurt. Like I said, Dungy went through his whole career. RC pretty much had a good run there. And I can't figure it out, dude. I've tried to.
And even RC, he wasn't smooth and tactical like Jet or Dungy. He was freaking twisted.
Yeah, had nothing. It was nothing like their approach on what they do, but it worked for him. And he was like a cat, dude. Every time he crashed, he landed on his feet and then just got back up and took off. So
he was running back to his bike before he even
So for
landed.
him, in his case at the time, whenever he was the greatest of what we're doing, obviously he's the GOAT. But I just thought it was just because he was in such good shape. He was so much more fit than everybody that when he hit the ground, maybe he just bounced a little better and he was able to get back up because he's so fit. That was the idea, But it's changed so many times. I saw Kennard go through the same stuff, and he got hurt a lot. If that dude just could have been there every weekend,
another technically beautiful rider,
yeah, it
right?
looks incredible, but he just hit the ground a lot. It's just so weird. I don't know what to say or how to explain it. It's just weird.
I wish I had even a glimpse of what that answer is, because
same.
As a racer, it's frustrating, right? When you're
Yep.
because I think out of the 10 years I raced pro, 2 of them I made it through that injury.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
Absolutely crazy.
And it's pretty normal. I mean,
yeah, it is.
Sadly.
I mean, even this year or last year, there was, I think, Justin Cooper and Malcolm were the only guys to make it all the way to this point, and then now Malcolm didn't even race last weekend. So it's man, it's just crazy. It's hard to do.
It's a brutal sport. I wish I think sometimes the difference between those guys and the rest of us, everybody else, is processing speed.
Yes, mental.
Maybe there's something in their brain where they, it's almost like it slows everything down.
Yeah.
They can process stuff coming at them and track changes and just information quicker.
Oh, yeah. I fully agree. I think that's something to do with it, because then I see guys that's why Jet to me is such, this generational type guy, because James talks about it all the time on the broadcast. Dude, you touch that stove and it's hot, you're probably not going to touch it again. That's your learning lesson, where Jet's been able to avoid a lot of those lessons and figure it out before it gets to that point. And he can process everything extremely quick. I've never seen someone adapt that quickly to doing things. It's unbelievable. Where me, dude, I have to do the same dumb mistake 10 times. And on the 11th time, I'm like, oh, yeah. Then I figure it out. Yeah, damn, dude, why couldn't I just figure that out beforehand? But it's just some guys can do that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's part of, it's frustrating, but it's also what makes this sport so difficult to replace.
Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, because you're chasing perfection that's never been done. It's hard.
It's like golf, but just not as gay,
Yeah.
I mean, I like to golf, but I mean.
Yeah. It's just different, man. It's so different. The risk is so high, and that's what makes it what it is. So when you have guys that are able to stay healthy and then guys that win everything like Jet does, it's you just have to like kind of just be like, dude, respect. Like it's
Totally.
unbelievable because I wish to God I could do that. Like I'm trying everything I can and I can't come close. So it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's really crazy.
He's beautiful on a bike. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. This is your Troy Lee Designs Timeout, guys. Stick around. We're going to be right back here with more Colt Nichols. In the motocross graphics game, customization is key. TBD MX can bring any of your design concepts to life. Simply fill out a design request and they will email you a concept for approval. TBD MX also has a showroom full of designs to choose from on their site. Whether you just want number plate backgrounds or a fully custom kit, the TBD MX crew has you covered. Visit tbdmx.com today and get the look you want.
There is a reason every AMA championship in the past decade was won on Dunlop tires. They are the best. Choose the best performing tire and a brand that has never wavered in their support of our sport. Choose Dunlop. Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
At Seat Concepts, our handcrafted seats are made in America. Visit us online or call today. Seat Concepts. Ride the world with us.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
The inspiration for Element, interestingly, was from working with my coaches. I sat down with those guys. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What should I do? And they looked at everything and they were like, you need more electrolytes, specifically sodium. And like most people do when they have a coach, I ignored what their advice was. You're kind of like, well, I salt my food, I'm probably good. And it took me at least a year to finally listen to these guys and do what they asked me to do. And it was just a switch flip. It was just so obvious that this was the critical missing piece to the story. And it's ironic that this salt piece was like the linchpin, the keystone to making all the rest of that work.
ARC levers are the most durable and reliable on the market. They have the most premier class championships of any aftermarket lever. ARC is the only ratio adjustable folding lever on the planet, and their patented design is precision machined in-house right here in the USA. The occasional tip over on the bike is inevitable. Broken levers? Those are optional. Visit arclevers.com today. Toyota has become synonymous with reliability, and for good reason. Toyota vehicles are consistently rated #1 by Consumer Reports and in customer satisfaction. Partner that with a dealership that wholeheartedly supports the motocross community, and it's crystal clear where you should buy your next car or truck, Toyota of Redlands. As a major partner of the BarX Yamaha racing team, as well as personal sponsor of many factory racers and a premier partner of the Whiskey Throttle Show, Toyota of Redlands is heavily invested in moto. Check out all the new and used Tundras, Tacomas, and other vehicles at Toyota of Redlands today. Reliability, performance, and customer service. Get it all at Toyota of Redlands. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Pro-X. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, Pro-X makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Pro-X. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, Pro-X makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome.
The Specialized Science Club introduces the Levo 4. An electric mountain bike so advanced, it borders on sorcery. Together, you and the Levo 4 become a harmonious hybrid of organic and synthetic. It's a rider-enhancing machine that transforms you into a cycling cyborg. 720 watts of power and 111 Newton meters of torque, amplifying your mortal muscles, allowing you to bend space and time to your will. All channeled through futuristic suspension, with honed geometry, granting super control while traversing extreme terrain at hyper speed. With supernatural power delivery, you'll have super traction to conquer climbs where others spin out. And you'll tire, if at all, before the bike does. Thanks to the Levo 4's super range.
Every good podcast show has got to have an underwear sponsor, right? Well, we went right to the top, Ethica. These guys make the best underwear. If you haven't tried a pair, you don't know what you're missing. Your life hasn't even started yet. So try a pair of Ethicas on. Go to Ethica.com. Use our code WHISKEY20. Get you 20% off. And give all of your nether regions a break, man. It's vacation time for the boys. These things are comfortable. You're riding. Your butt's not going to get all chafed. These things are awesome. And guess what? They don't just make underwear. No. Tees, hats, beanies, sweatshirts, shorts. For kids, ladies, toddlers, old people, everybody, you name it, they make them. You know what else they make? Moto gloves. I didn't even know that. I just found it out. So get over to Ethica.com. Check them out. These guys are awesome. Whiskey20. Use our code. Don't cheat me now. Get 20% off and put your buns in the best undies around. Ethica.com. Welcome back. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout. If you guys haven't been over to TLD lately, get over to TroyLeeDesigns.com. Check out the new moto gear, mountain bike stuff, helmet paint, whatever you got. They are ready to rip over there. Those guys are awesome. Check them out. Okay, Colt, getting back into your story here. So
Let's do it.
Are you a new deal for 2021?
Yeah.
Like re-signed for that season? Okay.
Yeah, just a 1 year after 20. To try and just figure things out, because obviously I wasn't worried about the point out thing, but kind of. So then after that, he was like, okay, I'll sign you for a year and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So yeah, I was stoked he wanted me back.
So if you made whatever the points are, you would point out in 21? Is that the...
No, I still had an opportunity just because I had the only 2 years I'd pointed out or accumulated enough points was 16 and 19. And I think you had 4 years at that point. It was three years, then it up to 4. It kept changing.
It changed.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what it is now.
Yeah, so I'd burned 2 years of eligibility essentially. And so at the time, right before 21, it changed because Bogle only had 3. And when you won, you got to defend and you were done.
Yeah.
So for his 3 years was gone. For me, I had 1 more year than he would have had, but I only burnt 2, 16 and 19. So I was kind of still in the clear. I just didn't race enough, to burn any years. So, I was able to go into 21, and had a great off season, and everything went about as good as it could. But it was still COVID. It was weird. You were doing residency races, and no one really knew what the hell was going on.
In 21?
Yeah, in 21.
Still, there was a, oh yeah.
Yeah, 20 we were Salt Lake only. That's the only place we could race. And then for 21, for us to go race, we were doing week-long residencies at Dallas, Houston, Indianapolis. They raced Daytona a few times, Salt Lake a few times.
So weird.
Yeah, Orlando twice. It was a weird deal.
Salt Lake City 7. Yeah, that's what that was. It was 7th round there, right?
In 2020. Yeah. Yeah,
so weird.
Yeah. 21, I think we only raced twice there, or maybe once actually, or twice. Yeah, twice in 2021, I think.
Okay, so how's the shoulder? It's looking good.
This
by
is
the first of the year, going into 21.
Yeah, so in 20, after the shoulder, like I said, came in and raced the COVID rounds, Salt Lake. Broke my hand at the last round.
Oh, your hand. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Broke my hand at the last round, and then what happened after 2020? I don't remember if I raced any outdoor races at all after that. I don't think I did.
It doesn't show any here.
Yeah, I don't think I raced any for the whole rest of 2020. I don't think I raced. Because that's the year they went to Loretta's and did some weird stuff like that. So I'd missed all that with the hand and and everything else. So it was just full rehab mode, trying to get a good off season in, and that one was a really, really good off season, by far the best one I'd ever had.
Yeah.
I progressed really well. We progressed with the bike. I did about as much overtime as I could with everything, the training, the riding. I tried to up my program again to try and separate myself a little bit from Swanee and the whole crew. So not separate myself from Swanee, but just do a little bit more so that I could have some sort of edge over anybody else.
Yeah.
I was searching for anything I could to do good. And then Christian, that was his first year on the team, and he was unbelievable to have as like a riding partner because he was just so good. Like he was so unbelievably talented, and it was hard though being his teammate because he would kick my ass every single day we rode. And I'm like, dude, like I don't know how I'm going to compete with this guy next weekend when we go to race, So that was difficult, but just had to kind of try and figure it out and do the best I could. But
But going in, you're healthy, you're feeling good. It's you still went east though.
Yeah, but west, for whatever reason, the first guys that got to go race, that was considered East Coast. So East Coast was the opener that year.
Oh.
Which was kind of annoying. I was hoping it would be West, just because I wanted to be labeled as West, but it didn't matter. So the first round in 2021 was at Houston, and it was considered East Coast. So we did 3 races there. We did Houston 1, 2, 3, and then after that we went to Indianapolis for rounds 4, 5, and 6. And then we did 1 round in Orlando for round 7, and then round 8 was considered West Coast. That was the first West Coast round. It was at Orlando. So it was super, super weird the way they did it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bummed. I thought West, it should have been labeled as West because we were the first 250s to race.
Right.
So I thought that made sense. But either way, it was East. So it was really kind of a cool year. It was difficult in a lot of ways, but easier in some ways. Travel was obviously way easier. It felt like an amateur race because we flew to Houston on, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday. Had press, did all the normal stuff, and it's still kind of somewhat COVID, so some things are shut, some things aren't. There's some fans in the stands, but it's not full. It was at like a really small capacity, so it was still kind of weird, but way better than 2020. Like 2020, there wasn't a fan in the stands at Salt Lake. So 21 was better. I went to Houston and got on the podium very first round, and that was great. But off season, like I said, went awesome. I was so pumped how the off season went.
So who won the opener?
Christian.
Christian did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christian won the opener. Faulkner got second. I got third. Jet crashed on the last lap. He was battling me for third, and he ended up getting 4th or 5th, I think, something like that.
Okay.
Hampshire was in that year as well. Who else raced that year that was up there running with us? But that's how it kind of went the first round. Then a few guys got hurt right after that.
Yeah, and I mean, you went 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2, 3, 2.
Yep.
Never off the podium. 3 wins in a row midseason.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was incredible. Such an amazing season. But like I said, it was really hard because Christian won the first race. I got third, and he beat me every day we rode together. So I was like, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to beat this guy over the course of 9 races. And then you had Faulkner, you had Jet, who was, blossoming into a star right in front of our eyes. And so my approach was like, okay, if I could just beat Christian, I felt like I could figure everything else out because Jet was so young. Faulkner got hurt at round 2. And so he was out again, and he had just beat me round 1. So I was like, okay, well, that's one title guy that's gone.
Yep.
And he was good. I knew he was going to be good that year. But, yeah, he got hurt, unfortunately, again. So I was like, okay, now it's looking like it could shape up to be me and Christian battling for this title. But round 2, Jet went and won by 15 seconds. He kicked all of our asses. So I was like, oh, maybe not.
Was 21 the year he did his collarbone at Anaheim, or was that 20?
No, that was 20.
Okay.
That was right before COVID hit. He battled Ferrandis that night in 20.
Gotcha.
And then 2021, Ferrandis was a rookie in the 450 class. And for the second round, Dylan got second, actually, behind Tomac and rode phenomenal. Like, he rode so good that night. But that was his rookie season. And then that same night, Jet won the 250 class and dominated. He killed all of us. He got the whole shot, then literally won by 10 or 15 seconds. He was gone. Me and Christian got bad starts and then battled all the way through. He passed me. I passed him back. I ended up getting second, and Christian got third.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was funny.
So then by Houston 3, you figured it out and got the win and, like, rattled off 3 in a row. Was that just sort of like a build of confidence? Were you just performing? I mean, what made the difference there?
Yeah, it was literally everything kind of put together. So Houston 3 was the race where it kind of happened because I dogged Christian the whole race. Like, I got into second pretty quick. He got the whole shot. I think we actually started 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken, but it was just like this the whole race. It was just like battle, battle, battle. And for whatever reason in my head, I just thought that I could outlast him at the end of the race. Whether that was true or not, that's what I was going to go off of. So with, maybe 5 laps to go, I passed him. He fought back really well, passed me back, and then I ended up passing him back with, I think, 2 laps to go at the end of the race. And was able to, like, break him or whatever, just that race, and I was able to win. And that was huge for me because I hadn't won since 2019. Yeah. I was like, dude, I can't believe I won another race. Like, thank God, And then
had he won a race at this point?
Yeah, he had won 2.
Okay.
But he won in 2016. Whenever I rode for Rock River, Christian won his very first race at Glendale.
Okay.
On a Geico bike.
Yeah.
That was his very first 250 win. So for him to win at Houston 1, that was, like, crazy emotional for him because he hadn't won in such a long time. So he won, had the red plate, that whole 9. I won Houston 3, and then we go into Indy for the first round in Indianapolis. Both of us, I think, had the red plate that night.
Oh, you're tied. Okay.
Yeah, we were tied for the red plate. Either that or I think he actually maybe still owned it at that point. I won at Indianapolis 1. We go into Indy 2, either tied or something like that. Then I won at Indy 2. And then the third round at Indy, I actually got the whole shot, and that was maybe that day probably the best I think I'd maybe ever rode a motorcycle, like through the heat race and all that kind of stuff. And then I got the whole shot, and I was like, dude, I'm about to win 3 Indies in a row. It's about to be sick. And then I crashed literally as soon as I got the whole shot. So crashed right off the start, kind of did this big tumble, came all the way back, then I got third. And it was a race where me and Jet were just battling back and forth. He was struggling with a shoulder that he had, like, got hurt at the very first Indy round because he won Houston 2, had some trouble at Houston 3, but he was starting to, like, figure out, like, okay, maybe I'm good enough to, like, win these races. And we went back and forth in qualifying, and, I topped his time, he topped mine, I topped his, and then he ended up just getting a little whiskey in the whoops, hurt his shoulder, and ended up missing one of those Indy races, something like that. So he was starting to kind of, like, figure it out, but he was still kind of nursing a shoulder for this very last Indy that we were there, Indy 3. And as soon as I caught him, it was like all of a sudden he just wicked it up. Like, he was in 7th or 8th, and then, like, I was coming from the back. I passed him, then we're kind of moving through the pack together, and, dude, we battled the whole main event. It showed us the whole time. Christian was gone out front, and then me and Jed are just passing each other, just cat and mouse the whole time. And I was pissed because I was like, dude, if I just could have passed this kid, maybe I could have got Shimoda and got second or something. And I was so pissed. But there's a photo of us after the race where luckily I ended up passing him. I think he got 4th or 5th that night, and I got 3rd. But he came up to me, and we were just kind of bullshitting after the race, and everyone was like, thought that I'd be super pissed and maybe confront him about it or whatever because I was battling for a championship, and he was already out at that point. But was like the best thing I could have done, and just talked to him. And that's the first time I've ever talked to Jet. He was like a really good kid, and he raced me hard as hell, like you're supposed to. So I had a lot of respect for him at this point. But yeah, it was really funny. Like after that, that's when I was like, dude, this kid's gonna be a problem. Like he's really, really good. Like he is gonna be a problem, and if I don't win now, it's gonna be hard moving forward. Once this kid starts to figure out really how good he is, it's gonna be really difficult. So I was like, dude, I have to win this title. Like this year, it's like this year or bust was like the whole mentality from then moving on. So luckily I was able to pull through though. Yeah, I was on the podium every other race, so it was cool.
So did you wrap it up? Not till the final round, I assume?
Yeah, I had a chance to wrap it up at
Salt Lake 1.
Yeah, Salt Lake 1. All I had to do was beat Shimoda, and that was a one race Shimoda won that year. Was that one?
Of course.
Yeah, he won that race. Jet got second. I got third. Christian, he was only down like 8 points at Salt Lake 1, and he had a huge crash in practice and broke his ankle.
Oh.
But it was like me and Christian were extremely tight in that title. Like if I won, pretty much he got second, and if he won, I got second or third. We were on the podium every weekend together. Yeah. There was maybe one race where he got off the podium, and he would have been on the podium, but him and Jet crashed together on the last lap at like Indy 2 because he was running second, Jet was third. Otherwise, he would have been on the podium every time I was. And, yeah, he broke his ankle at Salt Lake 1, but it was going to come down to the end. Like we were really, really close with each other. So that was unfortunate, but, yeah, he tried to race, couldn't do it. Shimoda won that night. I got third. And then the next Salt Lake was East-West Shootout. And I got Jet won, I got second, Hunter got third.
Okay.
So won the title that night.
How stressful is that, having an East-West Shootout be the final round when you're fighting for points? It always used to be your coast would do their main event and wrap it up.
Yeah.
And then you do the shootout,
yeah,
right?
Separate. Yeah.
And that just seems like such a better way to do it.
Yeah.
From a racer's perspective, I get it as a fan. You're like, hell yeah, throw them all together. Let's throw shit at them from the stands too. That'll be fun. But man, as a racer, that sucks.
Yeah, they're difficult. They were really, really hard. I did one in 19. We did an East-West Shootout at Atlanta, and it was the same thing. It was chaos. Like AC won that race. I think Fortner got second, but he was undefeated up until that point, and they were just so stressful. You had everybody going together. But that one, luckily, at Salt Lake in 21, I had such a big points gap. I was like, I pretty much just have to survive the race. And the whole time I was like, dude, I just want to try and win the race. Like if I just try and put myself in a good position, I will avoid everything else, because that's usually where the chaos starts, is when you start in the back and something happens. So my whole mentality was just like, try and get out front and then just ride, just cruise.
Well, dude, the minute you start like counting points or playing defensive, look at Savachi. Yeah. Whatever year that was, like that was painful.
That was crazy.
And it just shows you how strong your mind is, or it can help you or it can hurt you. Yeah. So anyway, take me through the emotions of that, dude. All of the injuries you've been through, the doubt early on, no rides, and then to get it done, had to be
that was crazy,
unreal.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I couldn't really believe, and it was kind of weird too. At the, I'll never forget anything about that year, just because that was obviously up to this point the highlight of my whole career was winning that title, but. Salt Lake 1, Christian gets hurt. He's my closest competitor in the title. All I had to do was beat Shimoda. I'd beat him all year. So I was thinking, I'm going to win this at Salt Lake 1. And as I'm walking to the gate, I'm talking to Will, and Will's obviously been in my corner my whole career, but he just said some stuff to me that just got me like super emotional, because he was just like, dude, you're about to, pretty much like without saying it, like you're about to win this title. And I just almost like couldn't handle what was going on. And I just got like super emotional, like right before I was about to go race, I was like, damn, that was terrible timing. Because before that I was like pretty fired up still. But it just kind of hit me like pretty heavy. I got third. Obviously I didn't win. I was like so pissed at myself, because I was like, why did I do that? That was so dumb. I kind of just let it bother me too much. And then went to Salt Lake too. It was kind of cooler though, because the rest of my whole family got to be at the second Salt Lake, which was cool to do it with all those people there. But man, it was just super surreal. Like as soon as I got off the track, I got back to the podium, and first people I see are my mom and dad. The first people I ever went to races with. So to just give them a big hug, and like I mean, that just made everything feel like it was so worth it. All the injuries, all the bullshit. I was just like, dude, this is what it's about right here. Like, this feeling beats everything else, you know?
What about seeing your dad's face?
It was crazy. I mean, still to this day, I don't know if I've seen, like, that much joy about one specific thing, you know? Like, obviously, my sister's done some great things in her life and done all this stuff. My little brother, I've able to accomplish, like, what I felt like was good for my career. But to see how happy he was for me in that situation, because I had done something I wanted to do, was just, it was the coolest thing in the world. Absolute coolest thing in the world. You know, I couldn't really handle it. I started breaking down. I was crying right there on the podium, you know, when I was trying to change my jersey and do all this stuff. And to give my mom a big hug and everything like that was by far the coolest thing of that whole experience was seeing my parents right there.
Did somebody get pictures of that?
I'm
sure you have some.
Yeah. And those are the coolest photos I have. Like, there's still my background on my iPad and all that kind of stuff. So it was just really, really, really cool. You know, we got to go celebrate after. And yeah, I mean, that was what that made everything else that I had done up to that point worth it, because now I at least was in the same category to some capacity as Bogle, Kennard, all these other greats that came before me from Oklahoma. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to be in some sort of category with those guys because they had won. So I was like, dude, if I could just be mentioned with those guys, that would be the coolest thing in the world. And luckily I was able to do that. And all three of us have 250 East Coast titles. That's pretty damn cool.
It's really cool, man. That's awesome. Okay, so the rest of the summer, you know, they talk a lot about championship hangovers. You know, you're so focused on Supercross that you're kind of like a little disheveled going into the outdoors. Did you find that? Seems like your results are okay. A couple bad ones here and there, but
I kind of felt a little bit more of like, I guess a little bit of that of why wasn't I better than what I was? I really, really expected to be a lot better than what I was.
Outdoors?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
I had such a good year in 19. I didn't get to race in 20 that I really thought that I was going to do way, way better than what I did. But looking back on it now, I can admit that it just felt different than it did before.
Yeah.
Like, I won, and I had this big, like, I won, thank God. You know, like, it doesn't even really matter what I do here because I won this title.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it would be you're just emotionally exhausted a little bit.
I was done because I personally had never been in that position for that long. We had the big break, you know, where the East Coast guy or West Coast guys did their residencies where they raced for such a long period that I had to go that whole break of riding and testing outdoors just like you normally would, but it just seemed so long. And me and Christian were in such this tight points battle that it was just so stressful because still then I would go home and he would kick my ass every single day we rode. And I'm like, Jesus, I have to beat this guy a few more times before the end of the season is done for me to win this title. Either that or he's going to.
Yeah. It
was between us. So it was really, really stressful. It wouldn't have been probably as bad if we weren't teammates, but the fact that we were teammates made it, I felt harder for me because I thought he had the upper hand. He was better than I was. It felt like because every time we rode together, he beat me. So I was just like, well, how am I supposed to do this? So I had to really, really, that whole season, every time I went to the gate, I had to completely try and psych myself into thinking I was better. You know, somehow I had to get myself in that position to be like, maybe this time it'll work and I could be faster than him. It hasn't worked the whole, you know, months before this, but maybe tonight there's a chance. So I was kind of just, you know, hanging on to a prayer really that would work. And luckily it did a few of those races, but it was really stressful. And then when outdoors rolled around, it was kind of like this weight off my shoulders type approach. And I didn't feel the same as what I did. It was different.
I just feel like, you know, you'd be out of gas. It just seems like you emotionally you're just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't have that energy, that charge to like, let's go after this now. It's like, dude, just let me take a breath.
That's kind of what it felt like. And you don't realize it because you're still doing the same stuff. You know, like you still go to the track, you know, 2 or 3 times a week. You're practicing, doing 30s, doing all the stuff. And then when you go to race, I just didn't have that.
It's a little flat.
Yeah, I just didn't have that as much as I wanted to. That's why I have so much respect for these 450 guys. And, you know, a guy like Coop who's been in a title hunt from 19 on. Every single year he's been in a position to get really, really close or win the title. And he handles it, I feel like, about as good as you possibly could. I mean, it's nuts. Like, I did it for a small portion, you know, a 250 regional championship. This dude's done it 17 rounds year after year after year. It's just, It's really, really hard to do.
Well, it's radical. And usually he kind of tapers off for the summer. It doesn't seem like he cares, especially in the last couple of years, about nationals so much, which I totally understand. I'm not knocking Coop, but it's like it's too many freaking races to carry that kind of intensity.
It's hard. It's
so
really,
look
really
at
hard.
a guy like, freaking Jed, or just a guy who's in both titles.
Yep.
And he's actually missed the last couple of years too, but with injury. But like when you got to be at that level, 17 rounds of Supercross, 11 rounds of nationals, going to the playoffs.
It's really hard. It's tough, dude. Yeah, a guy like Sexton, he's, like I said, he's about as rock solid as they come physically, and being there every weekend, he's always there. Like, he doesn't really miss many races at all. This year's been an exception, but the dude's always there. So for him to be in those title fights too, I mean, a lot of these guys, it's not just Coop, but a lot of these guys to do that year after year is just incredible.
It's
like
radical,
I don't know how the hell they do it.
And you know, so like when Chase takes a little break this summer, and guys are like, "Oh, he didn't even crash that hard." It's like,
yeah, you don't get it.
You don't get it. It's got nothing to do with him being hurt. Like, dude is cooked. He's been on the red line for how many years? You know?
Which is really, really hard to do.
Yeah, and I always get people that'll make comments when this kind of comes up. Oh, you don't know hard work. I dig ditches or I work construction. It's like, I get it, dude. That's awesome. And it's hard work. I get it.
Yeah.
There isn't pressure on you to build the perfect house in this amount of time, and you're not traveling every week. Like, you just don't.
It's just different,
You just don't get it, man. Like, it's.
I've tried to explain that to people before, but it's hard. Unless you're in it, you're not in it. You don't know. And other athletes across, other sports, obviously they get it. They've been doing AAU stuff. If it's stick and ball sports, their whole, young lives, and they get into pros, and you see the travel and all the stuff. But, dude, unless you're doing that, you don't get it. It's hard. It's really difficult to do.
And while those guys, if you're playing baseball, you're playing a ton of games. I get it, travel, but a mistake or a bad game doesn't put you in the hospital.
Yeah, and it's a team sport. It's not solely on you to make or break everything in your life. Yeah. Like, it is a big, big difference for sure.
Well, anyway, okay. So you got the championship out of the way. You get the summer done.
Yep.
Are you automatically re-signed for 22?
Yes. So I have a chance to defend for 22. I had signed a 2-year deal, like I said, in
going into 21, right?
Yeah, going into 21. So 2020, I did sign a 2-year deal. Coming back to me now, but the whole thing was like, well, if we have to figure something else out, we will. But let's get you through 2022, because I actually could have technically went through 2023, depending on how many points I scored. 21, 22. So that was the whole idea. So automatically re-sign. We moved to Tallahassee. That was a big jump. We went there in the summer of 21 a little bit, and then we went full time as soon as the season ended. I bought a house in Tallahassee. So
in 21,
yeah,
when the season ended. Okay.
Yeah, at the end of 21. So then everybody moves to Tallahassee. Star buys the goat farm. They get the big building, built all that stuff, and then I wanted to. They kind of left it up to me a little bit, but at the same time, they wanted me to race West Coast just because I got an early start. I started training with David Villeman that off season, so me and Ferrandis were training with him. Then you had Swanee, who still had Craig and Jay Coop and all those other guys.
How was it training with DV?
It was awesome, honestly. I had a really good time. It was just so short-lived. It was unfortunate. It didn't last longer. But, dude, it was really difficult for me to make that jump, to be honest with you. And everyone always asks me if I, regret doing that just because Swanee is so tight with the team. He has such an influence with the team. And I loved everything about Swanee. We have a really good relationship, even to this day. But I just felt like I needed something else. I was like, okay, I got here because I felt like I elevated away from the norm of what we were doing, and that's why I got to the point I was at. So now I was like, well, what if I do that one step further, take it even further? Because I had been around, Ferrandis since he came over here in 2018 or 17, whenever. I saw how hard he worked. He was he was on top of it, very good with it. DV was at the track a lot, 19, 20, so I was around him a lot. I saw the stuff that they were doing, and it was really good. It looked good from the outside looking in. So
sometimes, too, it's just good to change things.
Yeah, it's good to just do something
fresh.
Yeah. So I was like, for me, I won, and it worked. So Bobby's argument was, dude, it worked. You won. Why do you want to change anything? And I'm like, I get that. But it's not that I want to change anything to change it. I want to change it to elevate myself even more so that I can go try and win and then progress into something more, like a 450 deal was the whole idea. So, dude, I had the best offseason I'd had at the end. 2021 going into 2022 was by far the best I was ever. Even probably to this day, like on a motorcycle, I thought I was doing everything as good as I could possibly do it. My program off the bike was dramatically different. I got to see how Ferrandis showed up to work every day, and dude, I learned so much from that guy. Like,
Really?
It was unbelievable. I thought I was doing everything right, and I was very conscious about what I was doing, and I was, like crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and then I started to work with him, and I was like, holy shit, it was like a whole nother level of prepared.
Was he 450 that year?
Yeah.
Okay, that was when he won the outdoor title that summer? Okay.
Yeah. So everything for me was like, this makes sense because he's going to push me. He's on a 450. I don't race him. Like, dynamic was different. Like, when, in 19, we were teammates. So, like, we were trying to not really see what each other were doing type deal, But for 2021, I was like, or going into 2022, I was like, I feel like this is going to be a good move for me because I might elevate myself a little bit. And like I said, he was so professional.
And DV is really analytical. And,
dude, and amazing. Like, still to this day, he's one of the best guys I've ever worked with, aside from, maybe Robbie, of, like, on the bike stuff. Like, the first week I worked with him, I called and had this whole conversation with him about what to expect and what it was, and he explained the whole program, and I was like, dude, I really like what you have to say. I was like, let me call you back in, a week or two whenever I figure out if I can do this whole thing. Talked to Bobby, did all that. Then I started to work with him once we finally got to the goat farm in Florida. And dude, the first few times we worked together on the bike was incredible. I was like, this is awesome. Like, completely fresh, completely new. He had taught me some stuff that I didn't know, never been taught before. And it was awesome, dude. Everything about it was great. And I got to learn from Dylan. The way
because at that point he'll share some things with you.
Where before he was not.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool. And I got to just piggyback what he was doing, and he had been there for so long doing DV's program that he knew it ins and out. And for me, it was so new that everything was like fun again. It made it fun. But dude, it was a lot of work. Like, my workload went from here to here quickly. So everything was elevated dramatically. So I looked a lot different physically. I thought I was as prepared as I could possibly be. And I'd had so many seasons of being injured in the off season that by the time Anaheim 1 came around that year, the team was like, dude, if you're healthy, go. Like, we don't want you to, we don't want to hold you any longer for a chance that, that you could get hurt, because I thought it'd be cool to race East Coast because I could run the 1. But the team was like, this is our theory behind it. You're ready, go race. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Let's go do it. So, so it was just unfortunate, very first race.
Yeah, so take me through what happened. I remember in the whoops, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Tell me what happened, and then the injury list. I know you got burned and you did your wrist, right?
Yeah. So that was
it was a heat race?
Yeah. That was still to this day, it's like, I don't know. It was just, everything seemed like it was just a perfect storm of just shit to happen. So I make that transition into 2022, but one of the stipulations Bobby gave me was, if you're not training with Swanee and you're going to train with DV, if you get hurt, I'm not going to pay you. That was like the big risk I had to take.
Oh, really?
So I said, who gives a shit? I just made it through the whole season. This is a risk I want to take. I want to do this. That was the whole idea. So going into it, I was like, dude, I've had the best offseason I've ever had. I was actually beating Christian during the week, in 2021 going into 2022. Which I'd never done before. And, dude, I was firing at all cylinders. Everything was as high as it could get for me at my level, which I thought was insanely high at the time. And then I get hurt at Anaheim 1. It was a really weird day, to be honest with you. I qualified like shit. I kept crashing and qualifying. It was just weird stuff. I got qualified like 6th. And I had this insane pressure on myself, not from anybody else, but to go win, because I thought if I won 2 250 titles, that would guarantee me a 450 ride on somewhere factory for at least a year or two. Because in the past, that's the way it worked. Dylan won 2 titles, moved up, guaranteed 450 deal on a factory team for at least like 2 years. So
was there when you negotiated this contract with Star, was there any talk of, hey, I want to, run one more year and then a year in the 450?
Absolutely. Yeah. I wanted to do that the whole time, but I was only signed through 2022, and they had just taken over the 450 program. So they were like, dude, we can't. Like, we have Eli, Coop, all these dudes were, Coop was going to go there, like all this stuff. So it was hard because they had a lot of guys and money already tied up. And they had Ferrandis, who had just won that 450 title. Him and Eli were racing in 2022. So it was hard to justify me stealing one of those spots, you know. So
I get it.
For me, that's all I wanted to do, though, was to win in 2022. Eli was only going to race maybe another year or two. And so I was like, well, maybe I could be a third guy in 2023 on the team, was the whole idea, but nothing was on paper at all. So, so anyway, I went back to Anaheim 1. I think Freezy got the whole shot in the heat race. I passed him, on lap 2 or 3, and then started to gap out and ride normal. And, the first whoop section was really steep. Steeper than what it was in practice. When they fixed them, they made them just a little bit steeper. And, I barely tried to miss the first one to place on the third one. And the first one was built up a little bit more, the starter whoop, and I just got a little bit more air than I thought I was going to.
Just missed the whoop.
Yeah, and just barely missed the third one, went into the pocket after 3, and then that was all she wrote. But it really wasn't like the most insane crash you've ever seen type situation. It was just a bad crash in the whoops, But
landed wrong.
Yeah, but
put your hands out, and that's what
literally went here and right wrist. So the first row of bones in your wrist dislocated, and then I broke a handful of those, and then I broke this arm. So both of my arms were a little tacoed, and then obviously the bike was laying on me, and it burnt my side, which I didn't even know until later on. But and then I got a concussion or whatever. So I get up, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, that was.
Oh, did you get knocked out, or just hit your head?
No, I was out. Okay. So I went black for a second. Because like I said, I didn't even know the bike was on. I didn't feel it, nothing. And I was so in like a weird. Like, the whole day was just weird. It felt like I had this, like, weird pressure that it didn't feel like I was, like, able to be very present. Yeah, I felt like I was kind of just, So then when I crashed, everything just, like, felt really weird. Felt like I was in a trance almost. It was just the weirdest deal. But went to the hospital. They had to, set my arm because it was all kind of dislocated and everything. I had a surgery, 3 surgeries over the course of 5 or 6 days. They did my right wrist first. Left arm the next day, and then a day or 2 after that, they had to do a skin graft they took skin from my right hip and then put it right here on my side to repair the skin that was burnt. But I didn't even know I was burnt. Like, I was so worried about my arms, and my mom was like, your side looks pretty terrible. Like, you got really badly burnt. And I was like, I didn't even feel it. And I looked down, and sure enough, it was just white as a ghost right here where it, like, burnt through everything. But
I heard the skin grafts hurt.
It was terrible. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Where they pull it from?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was honestly kind of worse than where they put it. Like, where they pulled it from just took forever to get better because they just kind of cheese grade and just stick it there. It was the weirdest deal. But that was probably the worst point I'd had where I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. I almost felt like all hope was kind of lost because I was like, well, if I don't win another title, now I'm hurt again, my chances of getting like a 450 ride are gone, essentially, is what I thought. So it was a really weird time because I just moved to, like I said, Tallahassee. I came back. I had Ryan Fedora was renting my house here in California that I still owned. So whenever I came back to California before Anaheim 1, I stayed at my house. Mm-hmm. While I was in the hospital, because Justin was out here, all that kind of stuff. While I was in the hospital getting myself better, is whenever Ryan had his accident and he passes away. So that whole week was like just the shittiest week I've ever had in my life. It was terrible. Not only did I get injured, but everything that had happened was just so deflating because I had such a good off season, the best one I'd ever had, doing everything so good. Get hurt, so now I feel like my 450 hopes are gone, and then my friend passes away, like tragically in a motorcycle accident. So it was just a really, really weird time. I was just like completely down in the dumps, about as bad as you could get. So that was pretty terrible.
Did you stay out here for all the rehab?
For the first bit, yeah, I had to. So stayed out here for a while, and then eventually we ended up going back to Tallahassee and then finished the rest of my rehab in Tally. So it was just my wrist. My wrist was pretty locked up and just wouldn't move. It was really, really difficult rehab on the wrist. Because the bones that I broke. Of
course, it's right wrist, too.
Yeah, and the bones that I broke, no blood flow going to it. It was really hard to heal anything. So it just took a really, really long time. So I didn't get back on the bike until it was really deep, 5-something months after Anaheim. So it was a slow process to get myself going. yeah, so then after that, I didn't race that whole year.
Yeah, the whole year's off. What happened kind of end of the season? You're obviously talking to Yamaha at Star. There's nothing there for you. Tell me what took place.
Yeah, so I get back to Tallahassee, done all the rehab I could here in California. I get back there, and it's been a few months goes by, and then I'm not getting a paycheck anymore. And then I'm like, yo, like, what's going on? Whenever I talked to Bobby, it was like, I told you. And I was like, fuck. I was like, this dude's a man of his word, if anything. So I wasn't making any money. I straight up just wasn't getting a paycheck, month to month at this point. So I was like, this is a problem. I'm like, this sucks, So I just bought a house in Tallahassee. I had my house in California. Had a lot of money going out, and I had, nothing coming in. Sure, I just won a title the year before, but I wasn't making anything monthly. So
goes away fast.
Goes away quick. Mm-hmm. And I invested a lot of money after 2021 because I was like, well, I need something for when I'm done racing. I need to try and put this somewhere. So I couldn't touch the money that I'd put somewhere else in 2021. So whenever I go back, Bobby tells me that. I'm like, shit, I really forgot about that. So I was wanting to come back for the last 3 outdoors that summer. But I wasn't making any money. I wasn't doing anything. Whether win, lose, or draw, that was it. I was going to either get first, second, or third. Those were the only bonus money I could make if I raced the last 3, which would have been really difficult to do. I didn't race all year. And then I had an opportunity to maybe race for or to get a head start on the new Rocky Mountain team that was going to be formed. And it was by the guy that helped out Rocky Mountain that year. Forrest Butler, went out at BTO. This other guy stepped in, and he also owned what is now the Dog Pound, which was 83 compound in Florida. He bought that facility. He was going to start this new team. Seth Rarick was going to help be a part of it. And I talked to those guys religiously because there was a dead end at Star. They were like, we can't sign you for 23. Yep. There's nothing here on a 450, and you have to move up to a 450. They wouldn't let me race 250 again because we tried by saying, like, hey, dude, I got hurt the very first race in a heat race. I didn't race a main event. Like, is there a way I could come back and race again next year? And they're like, nope, you're done. So I'm like, all right, well, that's off the table. So then they were like, hey, well, we'll sign you to race for 450 for this KTM team. We'll sign you right now if you want to. Brand new team, everything. And I was like, okay, perfect. Let's do that. And I was like, I'll see if I can get out of my deal and my last little bit with Bobby, since I wasn't getting paid anyway. If he could just let me out early, maybe I could get a head start on this 450 KTM. Go down there, I ride at 83 for a few months, trying to buy a house down there, like the whole 9. And then the team just fell apart, like out of nowhere. I was going down there. I was staying with Bogle. He had a house or an apartment in Wesley Chapel. So I would go from Tallahassee to Wesley Chapel, once or twice a week at least. I'd stay for a few days, ride the bike, go back home. And Justin calls me one time, and he's like, dude, I don't really like the way it's sounding. Like, this team doesn't, sound good.
Was he on it as well?
No.
Oh,
he
okay.
was just, funny enough, like, he was dating the guy's daughter at the time. So he was, really involved. And he was at 83 all the time. He rode there and had the apartment in Wesley Chapel. So he was just like, dude, I don't really like the way it, sounds. Like, it doesn't sound that great, like the way they're talking. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Like, it's making me nervous, though. He told me this on, a weekend. It was, a Sunday. I was driving there Sunday night to ride the bike Monday. And then Monday morning I go in, we have a meeting for 2 hours, and the team folds right in front of me. Like, the whole thing folds. And
you're just like,
I was like, dude, are you shitting me? Like, I got out of my Star deal where I could have went and raced at least a few races just to race one race for the 2022 season, and I didn't because I was getting a head start on this, and now it's nothing. I was trying to put an offer in on a house that same week. I just sold my Tallahassee house. Selling my California house, and I was going to move to Wesley Chapel full time for this opportunity. And then it folded. So I was like, once again, what the hell am I going to do? So I'd already sold Tallahassee house. We load everything up, come back to California. I try to convince the people buying my house that I don't want to sell it. And they're like, no, we love this house. We want to keep it. I'm like, fuck. So I tried everything I could, but they loved the house and they wanted to do it. So I'd already signed the closing papers. It was kind of a done deal. So I got to rent it back from them for a month. So I come back to California. I was there for a month. After that, I'm just like, I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do. I have no ride. I have nothing, And then the very last minute, that's when the Honda thing came about.
And if I remember right, Kenny was going to go do the World Supercross round, and they said, if you go, you're done here.
Yeah.
Was that right?
Yeah, but he was still talking to those guys, and it wasn't like a for sure he's not going to be there. I thought there was still opportunity. He was going to go to Honda, but he races WSX for Firepower for Reef's team. I was supposed to race WSX for Rick Ware on a 250, on a Yamaha 250, and the Honda thing, there was like an opportunity. Jimmy finessed that. You know, I worked with Jimmy Button, and he was like, dude, I've been talking to Honda, and there's maybe a chance. But I always thought that was such a pipe dream. I was like, that's never going to happen. But whenever Ken committed to racing for Firepower, he was done with Honda then. As soon as he did that, he was like, okay, factory Honda's off the table. We pushed as hard as we could to get that, and then I got out of my Rick Ware deal. Luckily, they let me get out of that deal to pursue doing this. He was pissed because it was so last minute, so I felt bad for that. But I was like, dude, it's factory Honda. Like, I'll do anything to ride this bike and get that opportunity. And I signed that deal in November, to go ride for factory Honda. So got on the bike and
he's probably pissed because they get fined if someone's not on the bike, right? Or
for WSX.
Yeah.
Luckily they were fine. They found somebody. It was super last minute. I mean, this is a week before the race. Super, super last minute. But I didn't know I was going to have that opportunity. And if I went and raced WSX, that was not going to be on the table because they were like, we don't want our guy in WSX, period.
Yeah. What is that about? Like, I get it if you don't want to support it, but like they actively retaliated or pushed back against anyone that supported it.
Definitely the first year, just because that's whenever OEMs and WSX came together and disagreed. So then OEMs were like, well, we're not going to support your series. So then I thought kind of everything would fall apart if no OEM supported it. But these teams still did what they still do today, where they buy in, they get a team, and that was the way they wanted to do it. And WSX said, well, we're going to move forward, whether you guys support us or not. We have our teams, and it's set. But factory Honda, factory Cowie, Yamaha, everyone that we had talked to was like, no, it's AMA against WSX. We don't support it. If you go race it, we're not going to support you type deal, because that's what they did with Ken.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate. So Ken decides he wants to go do that. And then luckily, though, there was a door that was, barely open, but I just tried to push my way through it with Honda. So I got the deal in a way kind of late. It was in November before, we did anything. And then
by that time, are you healthy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I'd been riding. I rode a Star 250 for a month or so before the team let me go.
Okay.
And then I was riding a KTM, like I said, for maybe 2 months or something like that at 83 compound. And then once I came back to California, I was riding nothing. I was just kind of sitting here until I got the opportunity with Rick Ware. I rode that Yamaha 250 a few times. I rode that to try and get ready for WSX, and then stopped riding that bike, and then was on to Honda. So I was just like trying to find a place somewhere. I had no idea what to do.
It's funny because that was the year they had the last Red Bull Straight Rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a badass YZ250, and I was trying to find someone to ride it.
Yep.
And you were coming off Yamaha, and I'm like, I called Jimmy.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, dude, does Colt want to race this? I got a sick bike for him. And he's like, we're working on something, you know.
Because he actually had mentioned it to me, and I was like, dude, that'd be really cool to race that. It seems like a fun event. But at the time, I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah. It was squirrely.
Yeah.
So Broxton ended up racing it.
Yep.
And it was just, there was a lot. Anyway.
Yeah.
Intersection there, but.
Yeah, it was.
So
wild.
Tell me about riding that bike for the first time and just that experience at Honda. Tell me about that 23 season.
Yeah, that was incredible. The first time I rode the bike was really, really surreal because, like I said, I'd watched all my heroes race for factory Honda.
Yeah.
Like that was just so prestigious. It was like Ferrari what we do. So I'm like, dude, to be on this team is like literally a dream come true. And I had a little experience with Honda, obviously in 15, but it was such short-lived. And I didn't mind that bike at all. But going to this, I'm like, I have no idea what to expect, but it's factory Honda. Like it's got to be, incredible. And dude, the first few days I rode it, I was like, wow, this is like so awesome. I couldn't believe I was getting an opportunity to ride it. And then they gave me a Supercross setup. We went to Honda for the first time to ride Supercross, and I was just like, holy shit, like this isn't what I thought, I guess, coming in. I was just so nervous to like ride the bike. And they gave me something similar to what Chase had rode. And, I'd been on Star for so long. And the first day I rode that bike, I went from, an air fork for 6 years on Star, which has an insane amount of hold up, and that bike is just set up a certain way. And then I went to Honda, which is naturally a little bit more stink bug, and a spring fork, which was really, really soft. Like I thought Chase's setup was way softer than any of my 250s at Star. So when I first got on it, I was like, I don't know how to ride this fucking thing. Like I felt so awkward. It was a kind of a hard transition at first, honestly. I'm sure the team was like, what the fuck did we do? Because I was so slow.
You guys didn't ride outdoor or anything at all?
No,
first?
I rode outdoor for a few days, and then we went to Supercross. But like I said, it was already into November, so we were late, like really late getting things going. Yeah, so I was just like, dude, I didn't ride, get on the bike until, I want to say mid to end November. Okay. So we pretty much had a month and some change to like get us ready for A1. So outdoors a few times, jump right into riding Supercross, and then it's just trying to figure out how I can get comfortable from then on. And it's my first stab at a 450. I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. Like 450 is just different, you know? So in my eyes, I'm like, well, I just want the bike to be stiffer. And I battled with those guys for a while on trying to get a stiffer setup, and the way Chase rode was so much different than me. And he was so like, he could make anything work. Like he could put that dude on any bike, he will go fast. Like I've never seen anything like it. And going into that, I still felt like I was still one of the guys, you know, because just the year before, I felt like I could have won that title again on a 250. Then I'll never really forget the day, really. It was one of the first times that Chase came to California, first time I'd rode with him. And, dude, it was insane watching him ride that day. And I was still struggling to try and figure out the bike, and it was still so soft. I just didn't know how to ride it straight up. I didn't know how to ride it. And, dude, he was going like 4 or 5 seconds lap faster than me on a Supercross track. And I was just like, holy shit. Like, we have some serious work to do, you know? To ever be in a spot where I could challenge somebody like that guy, like, we are so far behind. So that was like a big wake-up call. And then after that, we kind of tried to figure out and close the gap as much as we could. And right before Anaheim 1, he came out. And I was closer. You know, I still was not Chase Sexton by any means, but compared to where I was at the beginning of December, I was like, dude, we made an insane amount of progress in that month to get myself a little bit better.
Did you get the bike sorted?
Better. We got it better. But going into Anaheim 1, we just left it from where I was, and went to Anaheim 1, and I thought rode decent. Like, some guys crashed out and did whatever, but I got 6th at the first race, and I was surprised. I was like, sick.
That's awesome for your first 450.
Yeah, I'm like, first 450. Hadn't raced in over a year. I'm like, great. You know, like, it just felt good to race again. It was nice. And then after that, you know, I kind of tried to figure it out, but we started struggling a little bit. The team thought the direction with the bike that I had it would work better if we went more towards the way Chase was doing it. But the way Chase had like rode the bike, like, he's so big and he has so much leverage over the rear, it had to be pretty extended and really stiff. And the fork was just so soft. I had no idea how he rode the bike like that. I'm like, dude, I can't ride it.
But is that why he kept blowing that front out from underneath?
It seemed like it for sure. But it's just the way that he rides it. Even now, like, his KTM to me looks soft in the front. I just think if you're used to riding a bike that way, and if you're used to riding Hondas, which to me, like I said, naturally were a little more stink bug in those days, even still a little bit now, it's just different. And
he's a bigger guy, so like if you watch him, when he accelerates, he's way over the front.
Yep.
But when he brakes, he gets way back.
That's what I mean. He uses his body so much different and so good that he can run the bike like that.
And that gives him the front end grip when he wants it, but he can just get back and
because if you ever watch him coming into a turn, his feet are so maxed flat, and he's literally like this, but that's just the way he rides, and he rides it so good. And like you said, accelerating, he puts so much weight over the front that he's trying to get something off the rear, or else it's just going to sink. And so I'm not saying the way he rides is weird. It's picture perfect. I wish I could ride the way he does. It would have been a lot easier for me to set the bike up, but I just don't. So I struggled a little bit just to feel comfortable on the bike, honestly. And that was no one's fault at all. It wasn't Honda's fault. It was just we were late in the game. We were really late.
I'm always, I know you guys didn't have a lot of time or whatever, but like I'm just surprised. And it's not just Honda. I hear this from a lot of the factory teams, not all of them. It seems like Cowie in particular, like they kind of go, well, no, this has worked. This is, you know, Chase makes this work, so let's stay with this direction. And you're like, dude, I'm not built like him. I don't ride like him. Yeah. You know, why wouldn't they go, okay, you want stiffer forks? Here you go. Yeah. Here's a stiffer setting.
Yeah. I mean, that was the problem we had the whole time I was like, dude, I don't know how to like get this across to you guys any different. It was like, I want the forks to be stiffer. They were just too soft the whole time, and we just couldn't get it. But I don't know if it was necessarily like too soft, like they weren't building them stiff enough. I was just looking for the feeling of like an air fork, which to me has a completely different feeling than a spring fork.
Yeah.
And a 450 is so much heavier that once it starts to go, it goes. And when you have a spring fork, it just gradually like falls. And with an air fork, like even on a 250, if it starts to fall, it's right back up. So on a 450, I felt like I needed that even more. So I went from like one extreme to the other. So I was just uncomfortable, you know, and it wasn't, like I said, anybody's fault. They just didn't really know what I was really looking for, because I didn't really either. I was like, I don't know what I'm looking for. I just know that the Star 250 was like this. So how can I try and get a little bit more of this feeling? And at the time, I just didn't really know that was solely probably just this is what I was looking for, you know? So, dude, they did a great job. Like, there were so many days we were out there till literally pitch black dark, and we would start riding at 9 a.m. at Honda, and the sun's going down, and Shane Drew's like, dude, we're out of time. And I'm just like, shit, we're still going, you know? So they were great. Like, they were so much fun to work with. I worked with Jordan Troxel. He was my mechanic. He was Kenny's guy for years at Honda. He was so patient with me. He was so good. They were just great. Like, Lars was awesome. They were fun to be around. They really were.
It's a good crew. Yeah.
It was.
Roosters.
It was cool.
Roosters a stud. I didn't know he was your guy. I guess.
Yep. Yeah, he was my guy. Yeah, it was awesome, dude. We had so much fun. Like, I wish my results were better, you know, than what they were for a lot of those races. But, dude, I had so much fun. Riding for that team was cool.
So your best round was Nashville, 4th?
Yep.
But you had a 5th at the finals. I mean, you had some good rides.
Yeah, they weren't bad.
It was just a little spotty.
Yeah, that was a little bit spotty. I got a concussion at Daytona. I missed a few races in the middle. Came back, and then there was a race at Denver, I think, was next to last round. And if I would have passed McElrath, who I was trying to pass, I would have got into a podium position, and I felt like I could have held it, or at least been somewhat close. I think Kenny crashed or something like that. Chase won, and I was like, man, that was the race that got away. I felt like I could have got on the podium. That would have been so cool. But I ended up hurting my knee a little bit, and I had to take some time off, so I missed the last 2 rounds. And at that point, my run with Honda was over.
So it was Supercross only?
It was always Supercross only.
And why? Was there someone coming back?
Jet.
Oh, Jet was out for Supercross. That's right.
No, Jet was racing 250, and he was racing 450
That's
for
right.
the summer.
Okay.
So the whole idea was maybe there's a chance I could stay there next year if
It went really
Hunter
well.
and if Hunter wasn't going to move up, because they were contemplating moving Hunter up or keeping him down. But then after talking with Lars, he was super straight up about it. Like, hey, dude, try and find something else. Like, I don't want to say there's going to be something here and there's not. So try and figure something else out. And even going into it, I knew that there was a good possibility that was a one and done. So I kind of knew where I was with it. So they were great.
It's still a great experience.
Yeah.
To see how things work at that level.
Yes.
Right? No matter where you go, you can take that with you.
Yeah, and to be around those guys. Like, dude, I was around Sexton the year he won his first title. I shared the truck with him. On one coast, there was Hunter. The other coast was Jet. Like, it was incredible to be around and have those guys as teammates was,
Yeah.
I mean, an unforgettable experience for me, you know, because I was struggling with my results a little bit at the time. And, you know, Chase is winning races, and I got to get to know Chase more, get to know Jet, Hunter more, and they were awesome to be around. So it was cool.
So Supercross ends.
Yep.
What do you do?
After Supercross ends, we are trying to figure it out. So I go to Rick Ware approaches me after it didn't work out. Then he says, hey, if you ever going to race WSX again, you're going to race for me if I'm going to let you out of this deal the first time. So I'm like, fair enough. Like, I get it. You know, you're letting me do this. It's kind of a big deal. So in 23, after Supercross rolls around, he's like, hey, I want you to race World Supercross for me. Man, it was good money. I had nothing else to do. No ride for the summer, no nothing. So the first round, I still kept training all the way throughout the summer, though, doing everything. Race for Rick Ware, go race that. But I still raced I raced Washougal that summer. So I had a Cowie, you know, from Rick Ware. So that's how I was able to practice. As soon as I got off the Honda, I got onto Cowie, started doing all that. And then went and raced Washougal, got into SMX, raced SMX on the Rick Ware Cowie, and then went and raced WSX for those guys, which was cool. It was a really, really cool experience. So I didn't really take a break. I wanted to kind of keep doing something because, like I said, I didn't race the whole year prior. So getting to race Washougal, and then I got into SMX, qualified directly in, and ended up getting 8th overall. I made like $100,000, which was really, really cool. But it was difficult because, I had to fund and do everything about that program on my own. So going into SMX, I was like, dude, I've spent about $35,000 in total on all this. Like I went and got I had Mitch do an engine for me that matched the Rick Ware bike so that I could go race. So I paid Mitch to do an engine. I had taken the suspension from the Rick Ware bike to use to race WSX or to race SMX on, and then pay for my own travel, my mechanic, everything. I was about $35,000 in.
It goes fast, doesn't it?
So I was like, dude, if I can at least make $35,000, this will be worth it. I just want to be even. And to make $35,000, I had to get, I don't even remember what place it was, but I was like, well, I just need to survive these and I'll at least make my money back. And I ended up making 90-something thousand, but in total it was like $100,000. So I was like, that was so sick. It was so worth it. And I just wanted to race. I'm like, dude, I've been on the couch all year before. So that was really cool. It was a good experience.
So then Beta was the next year, correct?
Yes. So then
24.
during WSX, I ended up signing with Beta, which was supposed to be a 2-year deal. Signed with Beta for 2 years. It was, good money, and an opportunity that I thought could progress for me to grow into something with something new was the whole idea. So yeah, I did that. I went up and rode the bike once while I was riding the Rick Ware Cowie, getting ready for WSX, and it ended up falling into place, and I signed with those guys. So I was riding a Beta during the week. Then right before a round of WSX, I'd ride the Cowie for like another week, go race, come back, then be back on the Beta. So I was bouncing a lot at this point. So it's kind of all over the map.
Yeah, I remember. I think we came out and shot you at Elsnor, and you had a 2-stroke. This is right when you signed it, remember?
Very, very first.
So when you rode the 450 of theirs, and, and that was probably a pre-production model maybe even?
Yeah, it was pre-production.
How did that compare to the Honda?
It was just so different. Like everything about it was different. I just came off a factory Honda that I'm riding this thing, and I knew it was going to be a work in progress for sure. But the main feeling that I was missing from Honda was having the bike feel level and have some hold up. And this did. It had that. So I was like, oh, that's a good sign at least. Probably overlooked some other things, that were going on that I probably didn't like about it, but it had a little bit of that. So I was like, oh, sweet. I think I can work with this type deal. But everything was just so new, like new bike, new team. We rode pre-production bikes that off season in 23 going into 24. All of our bikes were pre-production and we only had 2. So like if something happened, like the frame broke, multiple times, and we were like, well, what do we do? We just weld this thing back together and keep kind of going, So, and then poor Benny Bloss, he, had some incidents and some little things that happened. And once we finally got our production bikes they were a lot later than what they should have been. And I'd already crashed and hurt my shoulder at this point in December, going into A1. So I was going to miss a few races anyway. We finally got our productions bikes in and they were different. The head stem was a little bit different on the bike. The frame geometry was just enough to make a difference, So it kind of felt like everything that we did in the off season we had to redo. And the feeling of the bike to me was dramatically different than the bike I'd rode in pre-production. So everything was just new. Everything was so new, so different. We had some problems with a few things that were really wasn't necessarily anybody's fault. It was just the way things go when it's new, So, and there was just some stuff we disagreed about, team-wise, where they wanted to go with it, where I thought it should go. A lot of the reason for me being there was for me to feel like I could give a lot of influence and insight. I'd been on Star, I'd been on Factory Honda, I'd seen really good teams, how they operate, how they work, what they do, what makes them successful. So I was like, well, if I can bring any sort of knowledge, that's going to be good. And I thought that was kind of more my role and what I wanted to do. We butted heads about some stuff, moving forward. And like I said, the direction, some things that wanted to happen. And then I had in my eyes and everyone else's, pretty terrible 2024 year. I came back at Birmingham, raced, a handful of the rest of the races that year. We were only a Supercross only team. So I got to race, a decent amount of races, but they were not good. I struggled pretty dramatically to adapt and to ride and race the bike. Felt uncomfortable a lot. So it was difficult. It was a really difficult year.
So this is our seat concepts hot seat question.
Yep.
Check those guys out for any seat needs you have. What was the kind of point there where, because you had another year on your deal where
Yep.
you guys just said, hey, let's just call it. I mean, what was kind of the final straw? Just differences of direction, like.
Yeah. So I was struggling a little bit with, some reliability things with the bike that, I'll be honest, like I was just struggling to get over. Like I'd been hurt a lot and I was scared. You know, like I was to a point where I was like, dude, I'm nervous to like do what I feel like I need to do because I don't know what's going to happen. And I had a few incidents during that stint that scared me. But, like I said, it really wasn't their fault. It's just like trial and error. It's what you have to go through in order to figure, some of these things out. But some of it I was frustrated because I felt like it could have been figured out before it got to me. And it wasn't. So I was really frustrated about that. And then finally at Salt Lake, the final round of 24, we race, and I was really pushing those guys because I wanted to race SMX. I saw how much money I made before. I hadn't got to race. I was like, hey, let's do some outdoors, SMX, all this stuff. They were pretty hell-bent on not doing any of it. They didn't want to do it. They saw no point in it. The team wanted to have like a sit down and talk with me because we had some very frustrating days. At the test track, I had to go to Paso a lot to ride the bike. That's where they were based out of. Then I'd bring the bike down here. We'd have some problems. I'd have to turn around and go back up there. It was just like this whole thing. And then I didn't do very well. And we had a few incidents during the season where I was so frustrated with the way some things had gone and the way some things had been managed and handled from a team standpoint that I was just like, what am I doing? I just felt like I was kind of beating my head against the wall. So after Salt Lake, we had this huge meeting. The owner, manager, myself, Jimmy, everybody else, and they pretty much came to me and were like, hey, you didn't really do what we thought you were going to do, live up to, I guess, some expectation that the range they thought I should be in. And I didn't, but also I was like, well, I don't feel like you guys.
Neither did you.
Yeah, I feel like you guys didn't either. On what I was expecting coming into this and what you guys had promised and told me the way this program was going to be, wasn't that. It didn't add up at all. So they came back and they said, hey, all right, for the next season, this is what we're going to do. We're going to revamp your deal and we're going to cut your pay. And I was like, to what? Like, what do you mean? So they send me an updated deal. They send it to Jimmy. Jimmy forwards it to me. He was like, you're not going to be pumped, but here's what they want to do for next season. This is like what they're going to do, either that or we're going to have to figure something else out. I'm like, all right. And I see the deal, and they cut my deal in half, essentially, on what I was supposed to make, base salary-wise. And at that point, I was like, I'm out. Fuck this. Like, I'm done. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't necessarily one person or one thing. It was just I didn't like it. They didn't like it. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
The expectations weren't met by both parties, I felt. And I really felt like it was mutual. By the time it got said and done, they were like, hey, we want to go another direction. This isn't working. And I wanted to go another direction, and it wasn't working for me either. I was scared, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So it was difficult. It was like really difficult to do because I just bounced around from, third team in a very short time. And I'm like, dude, I'm sick of doing this shit. But also if I want to race anymore, I think it's best to go somewhere else. And I talked to HEP pretty heavily before signing with Beta. There was a good chance I was going to ride there that year. But I signed a 2-year deal with those guys. They were like, all right, whatever. And then once I got out of the deal, that's the first person I called was Dustin. I was like, hey, I just got out of my deal with Beta. Do you guys have any opportunity for me to ride for you guys? And then, that's how it happened. It was very quick, and Shane was kind of doing almost what I was doing with Beta. He was getting out of that deal to go pursue something else, and I kind of just slotted right in and took off, and then been there ever since. So the whole Beta thing was a really weird situation in a sense, but it kind of was what it was. I was disappointed with how it ended, but
yeah, I mean,
it was what it was.
I understand why you went there,
Yep.
and like the concept in the idea of it is great, right?
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to help this new company grow.
Yep.
We'll grow together. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you have failures and every time you get on the bike, you're going,
Yeah.
do I want to do this step on, step off right now?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, trust me.
Yeah.
You can't ride when you're thinking about, is
Yeah.
this bike going to break on me, or
Yeah.
what's it going to do right here,
Yeah, and we had a few close calls, really, where I felt like I should have been hurt, and somehow I wasn't. I escaped. And yeah, I was to a point where I was like, man, I'm struggling.
Yeah,
I'm really struggling to do this.
And
so
you know, to devil's advocate for them, it's hard to jump in.
It is,
with
man.
no data, nothing, no notes to look at.
Nothing.
Let's go compete with these companies that have all been doing it for decades.
And in theory, I mean, we were probably a year early on what we were doing, to be honest with you. Like, looking back on it now, I'm like, we rushed. Like, if we were a year later, it probably looks a lot different. Mm-hmm. But we weren't. You know, they wanted to go race this year at 24. They had to make it happen. Let's go. And, we were really rushed, really late on a lot of things.
And you're jumping into the 450 class, which it's harder to make those bikes handle than a 250. 250, you can get away with an ill-handling bike if you got a motor, right?
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying Triumphs don't handle well, but they started in the 250 class. They,
developed themselves in for
sure.
Got
to walk before you run.
Yeah, and it's hard to do, man. Like I said, I give those guys kudos because now, I mean, they seem like they got a lot of things figured out. Benny's riding that bike really well. Oldenburg's riding it really well, and I have nothing bad to say about those guys now. It just didn't work between me and them at the time, and that's the way it was. But,
What do you think will happen with Ducati? Because they're jumping in deep end, 450 class.
I don't know, man. It's so tough, dude. It is so tough to do. Now that I've seen it, obviously it's probably at a different level from Ducati, Triumph, and Beta budget-wise on if you're going to look at all three of them. But I've seen what it's like to try and develop something new, and dude, it's hard. It is really, really hard to do. I mean, luckily they have a little bit of a head start, and they have, one of the greatest ever in Caroli racing it and developing and helping with stuff, and that's good. But to jump into Supercross with new guys, new staff, new team, it's hard to do. It's a hard jump.
It's going to be a big ask.
Yeah, it really, really is.
Okay, so you get so HEP made a spot for you.
Yep.
Tell me about that bike, because I rode that sucker.
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah, it is. I was pleasantly surprised the first day I rode it. I went up to their place up by Fresno. I rode the bike for the first time, and I was sick. I was so stoked when I rode it. I was really, really excited on possibly having an opportunity to be there. And, one thing led to another. It happened, like I said, super quick after that. They wanted me to go race a few outdoor rounds. Was I ready to do that? Not really. But I was like, well, I need to go race, so screw it, let's go. And I learned a lot racing the last few outdoors. Got to go in to SMX racing the LCQ. Which was cool, though. I got an opportunity to go race more. And then I was going to race WSX for those guys, too. So I was just so stoked to have an opportunity to do all of it with one bike and not have to switch bikes again, all that stuff. So it was awesome, dude. I had a
where did you pick up with them then? Unadilla? You did these rounds?
Yes. So at the end of 24, I did Unadilla.
Buds and Ironman.
And just Buds. I didn't do Ironman.
Oh, okay.
I crashed at Buds, kind of hit my head a little bit, and then I did practice at Ironman, and I was like, I'm not right yet. I needed another week or two. So just did those two races, and then we went into SMX, and honestly, it was awesome. I had such a good time racing SMX for those guys. It was great. Being teammates with Kim was cool. The team was super, everything that I was wanting and seeking at the time, they were able to provide. Yeah. As soon as I went there, they were like, hey, if you want to run Showa, we'll run Showa. If you want to run KYB, we'll run KYB. If you want an air fork, we got that. If you want a spring fork, we have it. I'm like, unbelievable. That's so awesome. So I feel like that's what I was missing before, So going back to that was great. Everything just felt like it fit really well. I got along with Dustin. His dad, Aaron, are good people. So everything was great. It was super, super easy. I was so stoked. Had a good SMX, a pretty decent WSX before I crashed at Australia. And then kind of hurt my shoulder and was out for a little bit after that one. But dude, ever since I've been on the team, it's been great. I have nothing bad to say about any of those guys. It's been great. It's been awesome.
And so I guess from there, bring me up to speed.
Pretty much from Australia on. We shoulder injury, we're dealing with that going into because that happened I think November, December time, racing WSX, so not a whole lot of time on the bike before A1 of this year, and came in, I wouldn't say a little underprepared, but a little underprepared. Okay. Really rough A1, a little shook by how that went. I was like, holy shit, that was not good. And then didn't even make it into the main at A1. It was a terrible weekend. And then after that I was just trying to get on my feet pretty much the next few rounds after that, and it was a tough Supercross season. I'm gonna be honest, it was really difficult this year.
And what was different from 24? Even the Honda, you weren't super comfortable, but still putting in, you got a 6th at the opener, man.
Yeah, 23. Yeah.
Or sorry, 23.
Yep.
So where you're at now, is it just a confidence thing, or like what was the difference
this year? It felt like it was a handful of things, really. Like when I first got on the bike in 24 onto the Suzuki, we did a lot of stuff that, a lot of testing, a lot of things going into SMX and WSX. And then we switched to, from active ride to REP suspension, and I was hurt when we made that switch. So whenever I started riding again before A1, it was just really, really tight to try and do anything. And everything that we did about suspension and everything was kind of flipped from where I was. But Ken wanted to go this direction. The team thought it'd be good if we all did kind of the same thing. So then I kind of just, struggled a little bit to find my footing. We just bounced around a lot. Like I ran Ken's setup at one of the rounds this year. I was on a hybrid fork. I was back on regular PSF fork. We just were trying to find some comfort all year, pretty much. Up until the last 3 or 4 rounds, every weekend we showed up with a new setup, trying to find some comfort. I think we were just kind of maybe complicating a situation a little too much. And it wasn't REP's fault. It was just they were trying to figure out what I wanted, and that was difficult to find. So it was a handful of things. A lot of it was just on me. I just didn't have the confidence I felt like I needed to do what I needed to do on the weekends. And that was really frustrating for me, trying to figure out what the hell to do and how to get back what I had lost a little bit. So, a lot of it was just trying to get my footing, to be honest with you. This 450 class is hard. And when you get beat down, it's hard to kind of keep coming back. And it's just so competitive. You got to be a goldfish. You got to immediately forget everything that happened and then just try again doing the same shit, So it's hard. It's just a really tough class. And do I think that I rode to my expectation? Not even close, or what my ability is. And that was probably the more frustrating part. If that was straight up just I got 15th and that's literally the best I could do, I would have been whatever. But I don't felt like that's where I was, so that's why it was frustrating, But working with Larry and all the guys, even at REP and my mechanic, everything, they were great. Larry was so good with me and trying to be patient and help when he could. And Larry's kind of a softer touch at times. He was just awesome. Dude, he's so fun and great to work with. I love having him in my corner. So I'm hoping I can kind of find my footing a little bit more and be a little bit better. Obviously for this next year, that's always the goal. So
are you have a 2-year deal or a year?
No 2-year deal. So right now I'm still trying to figure out, obviously I'm pretty sure I won't be going anywhere else. I want to stay where I'm at. And I think that's their goal too. It's just a matter of getting everything done.
Okay.
Ken has to sign his deal first, before the Legos kind of start to fall. So as soon as that happens, I'm hoping my deal will be done pretty soon after and we can kind of take off. So that'd be the goal.
And the thumb is how far? What would you say? 80%? 90%?
Close. I'd say 75, 80%. Yeah, we're about 6 weeks out right now. I'm hoping 8 to 9 week mark is when I can ride again. And then we'll see where that puts us for the first round of World.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm doing that whole series. I'm hoping I can make round 1. That's the goal. And if I can do that, I'd be stoked. Yeah. But we'll see.
I feel like Larry's maybe the best team manager in the sport.
Oh, he's great. I mean, he's unbelievable to work with. He's so awesome. He just cares.
He cares
about the
lot.
right stuff.
Yeah.
And he cares about the right stuff. And I've been around the sport long enough, I'm not old, but, by dirt bike standards, I'm old. I'm 31 now. And, the biggest thing I've ever noticed in this industry is people, you can tell, who gives a shit and who doesn't. And he just gives a shit, and that's really half the battle. Yeah. Now that I've been around a lot of the teams and a lot of the people, I'm just dude, all you have to do is just care about what you're doing, and it'll go a long ways, Yeah. So Larry he cares a lot. He cares about the right stuff. He's got the riders back. He tries to help us as much as we can, and he gets it because he's done it, and he's great. He's so awesome to work with. Yeah. He's the man.
Well, I hope that works out. I think that's a good fit for you. You just need to have a good off season. Yeah. Be healthy.
Yeah.
What I mean?
So. That's
Find
the goal.
that right setting.
That's the goal for me.
If you could go back to your rookie season, very first season.
Yep.
What would you tell yourself?
My rookie season, I guess would have been 2015 Crossland.
You know everything you know now. It's like you today. You go a time machine back to 2015, and you can have a conversation with yourself.
In 15, I probably would have been to just my approach of racing. The way I looked at life and racing is so much different now than what it was then. And I probably would have told myself to kind of enjoy a little bit more of what I'm doing a little bit more, and then to take the stuff a little bit more serious that I needed to take serious. to just be a little more well-rounded in what I was doing. But obviously when you don't know, you don't know. But if I could go back, yeah, I would just tell myself to relax a little bit. I think I got so worked up and put so much stuff on my shoulders that I didn't really have to do, because in the end it always works out the way it's supposed to. The man upstairs, kind of has a plan for everything, I believe. And I just always thought that it was make or break every single time I did anything, or this one decision was going to dictate so many different things. And in the end, it didn't. Right. I just think the approach on the way I looked at life and racing, I wish could have been a little bit better than what it was when I was younger. Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a good point. But, of course, hindsight's 20/20, right? And as
Absolutely,
you mature, you see things in a bigger picture.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When you're young, you're just like,
I know. And I try so hard with, young, like I'm friends with a lot of kids that are younger now that are either in the prime of their careers or they're trying to get their career going. And, dude, it's so funny because I'm trying to tell them as a wise old man now, like, hey, dude, like, don't look at it like this or look at it like that, or, trying to give them a different perspective. And you can tell it's kind of just going in one ear and out the other because they're kids, like that's what they do. They have it figured out already, and they don't need some old guy to tell them what to do or how to do it. And they want to figure it out on their own, which is the beauty of growing up, right? But I'm just like, God damn, dude, I wish you would just listen to me, because I've been there, done that. Like, please.
Wait till you have kids.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they do the same shit to you.
Oh, I'm sure it's just even worse, but it's so funny doing it now.
Unfortunately, a lot of times you can't learn from your mistakes until you make them.
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's just the way that it is, unfortunately.
What do you see yourself doing post-racing whenever you wrap this all up? You want to
I've
stay in the industry?
That. Yeah, I've thought about it more lately. Obviously, I'm getting older. I don't know how many more years I'm going to race. If I could race a few more years, I would be stoked. But I've tried to position myself enough to put some money some places where I'm not like completely scrambling on what to do. Obviously, I need a job. I need to figure out what to do, and I would love to stay in the industry. I love the sport, at every capacity. So if I can stay, I would love to. What that means and what to do, I'm not sure. I've gone through a million different scenarios about stuff. I see what Will does, and, I'm so close with Will that I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do that. And then other times I'm like, that would be so fun to have his job. But then I see, some test rider side of it, like what Tickle does, and he's involved with Cowie, and I'm like, man, I feel like that'd be so fun. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that.
So out of Glen Helen on a Thursday in
5
July.
o'clock, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I know I would love to be involved somehow. If I can be an asset to a team or to riders, to a younger generation, I think would be great. Just trying to pass on any sort of knowledge I would have, if not anything. But I feel like it'd be fun, dude. I loved even what AC's doing, like doing the commentary side of things would be fun, I think. So I don't know. I think there's a million things you can do. I know I would like to figure out a way to be stable, make good money, whatever the hell that means, even if that means not being in the industry. But
if you that means probably not being in the industry.
Yeah, honestly, unfortunately, it's tough to make great money doing something when you retire. But I don't know. I would love to stay in it because, like I said, I love it. I really do.
And I was asking you earlier about whether you'll stay in California when you're done, or you think you'll move back to Oklahoma. And you said your girlfriend, which you guys have been together a while now, huh?
Yeah, we've been together for a little bit now. So it's kind of that point now where it's like we're trying to figure out those next steps of, I guess, where to go, what to do, the marriage, kids, all that kind of stuff. And
would you ever move to Australia?
She doesn't want to move back there, so that was kind of like easy to be like, well, we're not doing that. But she likes being close to her family, which is a little bit north of LA. They all live up there, which we're not going to live up there, but at least where we are now in Marietta, she can drive there during the day if she wants, so, and she still sees them a lot, activities and things, weddings, and, all of them are starting to have kids now and stuff like that. So she wants to be around. But then all my family's middle America. So, that's what we're trying to figure out right now, I guess, where to go and what to do and what that looks like for us moving forward. So, there's a lot that I miss about Oklahoma. I talked to Robbie actually a few weeks ago on the phone, for the first time in a while. And, he's got 3 kids now, and, it's just weird. I haven't got to really be around his kids much. I left by the time they were born, and I would love to be around them a little bit more. But, I don't know. We got a lot of stuff to figure
out. You'll figure it out as it comes.
Yeah, no problem.
What do you do for fun? You got a day off or a weekend off? What do you go do?
Day off, weekend off. It's been kind of more difficult now. Like when you're off from an injury, you're never off. Like it's kind of mental. Everyone's like, well, you're not racing. I'm like, yeah, but dude, I'm busy I'm probably more busy now than I am when I'm like racing, because you're trying to like recover and do all that kind of stuff.
Well, let's say you're healthy.
Yeah.
You got a 2 or 3 week break.
Yeah.
Like what does Colt Nichols go do for fun?
Like even now, like I went home. Usually when I had a break, I would go home. That's the first thing I did. I'd go to Oklahoma. We would go rent a boat. We'd go out on the lake. We'd have lake days. Those are like, to me, the most fun thing ever. Like me and my whole family would go out on the lake, hang out. Like even just when I first got hurt with my thumb, right before I had surgery, I went back home for a few days, or right after I had surgery. And Bogle came town. He lives in Oklahoma now. He came to my hometown where my parents were at. And
he moved back?
Yeah, he's in Oklahoma now. So yeah, he's back in Cushing, Oklahoma, where like he kind of grew up. He was living out here for a while and then moved back home, living the Oklahoma life now. So it's kind of cool actually seeing him back there. But he loves it now. Like now that he's been there for a handful of months now, and he's just stoked to be back home. Yeah. So whenever I came back to Oklahoma, him and another one of my buddies from Kansas came down, and I'm still friends with some, a few people that live at home. And we all just get together, and honestly, we rented like an Airbnb on the lake, and we were out just throwing football in the yard and just being, kids kind of the last little bit when we're not kids. But dude, it was fun. We had a great time.
And tell me how you met your wife. She's a Monster girl, right?
Yeah. So
was it on the podium?
No, she only raced or worked a few events for Monster, really, because she was doing pre-COVID, so 2020. She moved here full-time from Australia in 19. She grew up in Australia, but she would come once a year, see the rest of her family that's here, and then she would always go back home. But in 19, she was like, I'm moving to the States like full-time. She always had like dual citizenship or passport, whatever. So she moved here full-time. 2020, works for Monster, only a few races, COVID hits. And she didn't really work for Monster anymore, but during COVID in Salt Lake, they obviously would watch the races and do all this stuff, and she saw me on TV, happened to think I was like cute or whatever, and
look at you,
look at me go. And after that, like I met her for the first time actually, because I was coming back to California after all that was over, and then we met, had lunch. I just split from a girl I was with, and met and had lunch, and then saw each other again, like a few weeks after that, then another few weeks after that, then. I kind of tried to take it slow because, like I said, I was kind of just coming out of a relationship. But, it was pretty much over the first time we hung out. So
she's a pretty girl. Yeah, I mean.
It was wraps after that. Yeah. So, yeah. She was,
I didn't know if you had, like, some kind of smooth line you laid on her, but she just saw you on TV.
She saw me on TV, and then, the classic get on Instagram, like each other's photos for a while, send each other a few DMs.
Creeping through.
Yeah, literally, like, go back further, respond to some, stories. And then, we got her number, obviously, off Instagram, and then met up for the first time and hung out. Then it was pretty much over after that.
How long has it been then? 2 or?
We started dating in 21.
Okay.
So, 4 full years of dating now. And, she moved in with me right before I went to Tallahassee. So,
okay.
she started like, we were, kind of long distance or whatever up until that point. She moved to Florida with me, was there during that little stint. Then we came back to California, and we've been kind of bouncing around doing whatever since. So, trying to get the rest of it figured out. But, she's funny. She makes life fun. So, it's cool to have somebody around like that. And dude, I was double casted up, couldn't even wipe my own ass, and she was pulling that.
She's
duty.
Stepping in.
Yeah,
that's a keeper.
I was like, kudos to you, So, she's funny, man.
Yeah, Moto will test your girl's, integrity a little bit there.
Absolutely, it's
you're
tough,
like, hey,
dude.
listen, I can't get to it.
Yeah,
I need you to step in.
And every time we get hurt too, I mean, I feel bad, dude. Our life crumbles right in front of us, and we're assholes, and we don't even know we're being assholes, but we're devastated, that something's happened, and they have to take usually the blunt of a lot of it, and I'm just like, sorry.
Yeah,
my bad,
It's
so
brutal.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you coming on today, dude.
Dude, thanks for having me. This is always cool. I enjoy talking to you. This is fun.
We got the Ethica Fit Check. This is our last feature here. We're going to send you off with some Ethica stuff if you're
love that.
Don't have a sponsor that
shout out
conflicts.
Johnny Louch.
Johnny, my guy.
Yep.
Use our code Whiskey20 over there at Ethica.com and get 20% off. Our last question we ask everybody is, how do you want to be remembered in the sport?
How I want to be remembered? I would love to be remembered as a guy that was, obviously had some accomplishments through winning my 250 title and doing whatever. But, dude, ever since I watched the Guy Cooper story when I was 6 up until I could wear that VCR out, they ask him that question in this documentary that they do. And it's an awesome movie if you haven't seen it. I mean, it's hard to probably find now, but I watched it so many times. I guarantee you. But it was literally just called The Guy Cooper Story. And they asked him, how do you want to be remembered and what do you want your legacy to be? And his answer was the same every single time, but it was so cool because his story and legacy that he wanted to leave was he was the nice guy. He did the big air on the track, but afterwards he would wait till every little kid came through the autograph line. He signed every single autograph. He was super nice. He was approachable. And I can be a testament to that. I went and got his autograph at a local race whenever I still thought he was my hero, and he was the nicest guy. I'll never forget it. But I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a nice guy, a guy that was, somewhat easy to work with, at times a pain in the ass, but somebody that everybody around the paddock at least respected. I wanted that to be my legacy that I left. And I feel like I'm on my way there, but because even now I feel comfortable going into any semi in the paddock and would feel somewhat welcome, for the most part, and not leave any, bad blood with anybody and be welcomed and liked throughout the paddock. I think that'd be cool. So I would like that, as a good competitor, but somebody that was a good guy off the track and left a legacy more than just how many races I won or lost. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Well, dude, I think you're doing it. I don't know anybody that says anything bad about you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm trying.
I mean, I got plenty of people that say bad stuff about me, so you're way in front of me. And, dude, you got a title, got
a title.
I know everybody looks at their careers when they're done, or most people. Maybe Ricky doesn't, but most people go, man, I wish I could have just got here.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to be happy with whatever it is you get done.
Yeah, I mean, that's never going to end. I mean, I know I see that now, obviously, with Bogle being retired now, and we can bench race now that he's not racing anymore, you know, and he wishes maybe at times this and that, but you can't do that. You just have to live with what you got and move on and enjoy the next chapter in life, because this is short-lived, and figure out what you want to do, and like you said, how you want to be remembered, then what else you want to do in this life, because it is so short, for sure.
You're such a good dude, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Of course,
really
man.
fun.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Hey, stick around. We'll be back up to wrap up the show here in just a second. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Whiskey Throttle Show. We appreciate the support. A huge thank you to Colt Nichols for coming in. Wish him the best. Great dude. If you can't tell from that amount of time of chatting with him, he is just a very genuine, very talented guy. Been through a lot of crap. It's something about this show that I really like is you get to hear those stories that, a lot of those stories aren't making it into the media. You just think, oh man, Colt's, not having a real good year or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, when you hear the backstory and how many times he's been knocked down and had to get back up, makes it impressive what he's accomplished. I'm rooting for him. I hope that his 26 is his best year yet. And I think he's certainly capable. So huge thank you to him. I want to thank all of our partners. Boy, support these folks that you see on the board here behind me. We've got some great companies, and we really try to only partner with elite companies, elite products, and that way we don't have to push a bunch of trash on you guys. If we're promoting it, it's a really quality product. You can trust it and rely on it. So support them so we can keep bringing you these shows. We appreciate it. We appreciate your support. More shows coming. Stick around. We'll see you next time. Yamaha is the industry leader in two-wheeled fun and performance. Celebrating 50 years of YZ in 2024, the Blue Crew is still dominating shootouts and competitions. Yamaha, revs your heart. Troy Lee Designs is the leader in off-road motocross apparel and style. So whether you're looking for a cool new paint job for your helmet, maybe your name and number on your helmet lettered on, you're looking for new gear, you're looking for mountain bike gear, off-road gear. They've got the brand new Scout line and GP and SE models. Troy Lee Designs has it all. They've been leading this industry for decades, and they're going to continue to do it. Check out TroyLeeDesigns.com. Throttle Show, we're all about supporting brands that support our sport. And there's one tire company that has never walked away from the sport of motocross and supercross, and it's Dunlop. When times got tough and the economy took a crash, Dunlop stepped up and stayed with our sport to support it and the athletes and individuals that love it. Their MX-53 line and MX-33 lines absolutely dominate this sport. Every national championship at the pro level has been won in the last decade, and nearly every single amateur national championship at Loretta Lynn's has been won on a Dunlop. So if you're looking for high performance, you're looking for amazing quality, and you're looking to support a brand that never turns its back on our sport, there's only one choice for you, and it's Dunlop. All right, Whiskey Throttle fam, we've got a sponsor here that I want to really encourage you guys to try, Element. If you haven't seen this stuff before, give them a check out on our Instagram bio. You can get in there. We've got a link that will give you free samples. You can go in and try this stuff. And this delivers just the right amount of electrolytes that you need when you're competing at all, especially if it's midsummer, humid, think Loretta Lynn's, Nationals. You're sweating like crazy. This is the best way to replenish it, okay? Straight water is just going to flush more electrolytes out of your body, cause more cramping. You've got to get the electrolytes back in. This Element provides it in the perfect package with 0 sugar. It is vegan, keto, paleo-friendly, gluten-free. This is the perfect product for athletes or those pretending to be athletes. So it was designed by Rob Wolf. This guy is a crazy smart dude working in the science field. Was developing for his own use in athletics, and he came up with the perfect formula. This stuff's awesome. This right here, the citrus salt, is my favorite. Of course, you can get it in a sample pack like this where you can try some different flavors, watermelon, orange, raspberry. Great stuff. Cannot recommend this enough. If you are racing, even at a local level, and sweating at all, which, come on, we all do on a dirt bike, you've got to have some of this stuff to replenish it right. Give it a try. Like I said, go to our bio on Instagram. You can find a discount code or a link that takes you directly to there, and we'll give you a free sample. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss that. Support these guys. They are fans of the sport, and we are so stoked to be partnered with them. Element is an incredible product that I use exclusively, and I'm so proud to have them part of the Whiskey Throttle Show. Pro Circuit is the leader in aftermarket performance and quality. Whether you're looking for a little more horsepower out of your engine, some quality hard parts to improve the way your bike feels and looks, better handling through suspension or linkage arms, Pro Circuit is where you need to stop. It's your one-stop shop. You can go in there and get everything you need to make your motorcycle go from average to exceptional. Pro Circuit's got enough number 1 plates on their wall to side an entire home, and there's a reason for that. They're very, very good at what they do. The highest quality products with one goal in mind, and that's winning. Check out ProCircuit.com. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, look no further than Toyota of Redlands. You've got to support a brand that is supporting motocross big time. At the amateur level, pro level, they are part owners in the Bar X Yamaha racing team. They support a ton of riders individually, and they support us here at Whiskey Throttle Media. And I'll tell you what, the facility up there in Redlands is absolutely incredible. It's beautiful. The folks are friendly. They're professional. And if you've never owned a Toyota, you got to give it a try. It is the only brand that I'll drive anymore. If you're buying, there's nothing more reliable, nothing that holds its resale value better. And the folks at Toyota of Redlands are just they still remember what customer service is. I guess that's all I really need to say. Incredibly friendly, professional, and just talented staff up there. We're stoked to have them a part of the show. If you see the Whiskey Throttle truck around here, the Toyota of Redlands Tundra, give us a wave and a honk. But man, just so stoked to have these guys on board. Like I said, anybody like that that's getting involved and supporting the sport, we just want to push as many people as we can to them because those folks are rare, and especially when they have an incredible product and provide an incredible service. So get up to Toyota of Redlands, California. If you're anywhere in southern United States, southwest United States, it's worth the drive. Get over there, check those guys out. Tell them the Whiskey Throttle Crew sent you. On-switch device, something that was much needed in this sport. They've been innovating and bringing new products to market. Their latest is the new Nihilo Run Cool brake pistons. They're designed to be stronger than stock and provide exceptional cooling performance with less brake drag. Most OEM calipers pistons are made from aluminum that just can't hold up to the heat and extreme demands of serious racing. When they get hot, the aluminum will distort, causing loss of hydraulic pressure and brake failure. Nihilo's Run Cool pistons limit the area that boiling hot hydraulic fluid is able to come in contact with the piston, leaving 2/3 of the piston volume in open air with breather holes to enhance the cooling ability. It's made of a proprietary stainless blend, which is better at dissipating heat. You have issues with brake fade or brake failure, check out Nihilo Concepts among their many amazing hard parts and carbon fiber parts and titanium. NihiloConcepts.com. Seat Concepts is the leader in motorcycle saddles. If you're looking for a new cover or a new seat entirely, Seat Concepts is the place to go. They make custom seat foams catered to your height, weight, riding ability, riding type. They also have waterproof covers and foams that will not break down if you ride in a lot of inclement weather. And they pride themselves on being much more comfortable than OEM or any other aftermarket company. If you're looking for a new seat or a new cover, Seat Concepts, there's nothing better. Guys, I want to introduce you to Rockform, and a sponsor of the Whiskey Throttle Show here. that has just been blowing my mind with their products. They've got all kinds of, started as phone cases. This is their rugged phone case here that I've got, which is just bulletproof. You could throw this thing out of an airplane, probably pick it up and be just fine. And on the back here, everything is magnetic, so it'll just stick to anything metallic, obviously. But this little locking device you've got in the back, this bolts onto handlebar mounts, car mounts, adhesive mounts, magnetic mounts, and it does not come off. It is locked in. I have no fear that my phone is going to pop off a handlebar on a street bike ride. And then I like the little sport ring they've got. They've got all kinds of devices that pop in here, but this thing acts as a stand. If you want to sit this thing up and watch something on your phone or work on it, just absolutely incredible. And this is magnetic as well. All kinds of amazing products, guys, for your phone. Kind of that's their primary function. They also have the G-Rock speaker. This is basically made for golf, and you just stick it to the frame of your golf cart and get after it. Got great tunes all day long. So a ton of products, but check out our boys at Rockform. These guys are killing it. I'm so stoked to be partnered with this brand. You know, we really pride ourselves on partnering with elite brands, really, really high-level companies, and Rockform is right on cue. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Pro-X. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, Pro-X makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the Polaris RZR 800s. Need to replace something on your bike that's worn out? Look no further than Pro-X. These guys aim to make everything OEM quality or better at an affordable price. And they've also got some new products coming. So right now, chains, sprockets, anything inside the engine internally, air filters. If it wears out, Pro-X makes it, and they make it at a quality level that's OEM or better. And they've got some new things coming that are awesome. A complete engine rebuild kits for the... All right, so you had a tip over in the garage or at the track and you broke your lever off. What are you going to do? Go to Arc Levers, guys. They're the only people you need to check out in this space. Arc Levers, everything manufactured right here in the United States to craftsman precision. The stuff is awesome. Whether you're looking for an entire clutch perch with maybe a bigger wheel, they make the wheel super easy to find and adjust. Or maybe you just want replacement levers. They do that as well. Anything you're after, they can change the throw, the feel, everything you want, custom. They can make them feel different, look different colors. These guys are dialed, man. They've got all kinds of cool products. If you haven't been over to Arc Levers and seen what they've got, check them out. These guys are being run by factory Honda. If they're good enough for Jet Lawrence, I think you and I can probably make them work. The Star Racing Yamaha team, a lot of factory riders running them for good reason. They're the best products in the business. Check out Arc Levers. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motosport.com. It doesn't matter if you like to pull a throttle cable on a dirt bike, street bike, side-by-side. Motosport.com is putting riders first with parts, gear, and accessories, including some of our partners like Troy Lee Designs, Dunlop, Pro Circuit, and more. They offer first returns free on apparel so you can buy with confidence. And Motosport.com offers fast, free shipping on all orders over $79. Make your next ride your best ride. Visit Motosport.com. If you're considering a facelift for your dirt bike, look no further than TBD MX. TBD MX offers fully customizable graphics. Whatever you want to put on there, it's up to you. You're the boss. You want a military theme? No problem. Give them an idea of what you're after and they'll make it. You want to put unicorns on there? Well, that's super weird, but he'll do it for you anyway. They use the highest quality materials cut to the exact die lines for easy installation, which, if you've ever put graphics on, you know is important. No bubbles, no creases. They fit perfectly. And they offer fast service and shipping, so you're not waiting around forever to get your bike dialed in. So stop looking like a dork at the track. Go to tbdmx.com and get yourself dialed in with a set of graphics that you want, with your sponsors and the things you want to see on it. TBDMX making the best graphics in motocross, and the Whiskey Throttle Media crew and the Whiskey Throttle Show is stoked to be partnered with TBDMX. Follow them on Instagram, give them a follow, and follow along with all of our bike builds as we feature the TBDMX graphics on all our builds. Every good podcast show has got to have an underwear sponsor, right? Well, we went right to the top, Ethica. These guys make the best underwear. If you haven't tried a pair, you don't know what you're missing. Your life hasn't even started yet. So try a pair of Ethicas on. Go to Ethica.com. Use our code WHISKEY20. Get you 20% off. And give all of your nether regions a break, man. It's vacation time for the boys. These things are comfortable. You're riding. Your butt's not going to get all chafed. These things are awesome. And guess what? They don't just make underwear. No. Tees, hats, beanies, sweatshirts, shorts for kids, ladies, toddlers, old people, everybody. You name it. They make them. You know what else they make? Moto gloves. I didn't even know that. I just found it out. So get over to Ethica.com. Check them out. These guys are awesome. Whiskey20. Use our code. Don't cheat me now. Get 20% off and put your buns in the best undies around. Ethica.com. All right, the sun is shining. That means you guys need to find yourself a good pair of sunglasses and look no further than Rockwell. These guys are making some incredible shades right now. They're all designed here in the USA, made in Italy. Very, very high-end craftsmanship on these things. They've got so many different models for men's and women's styles. There's floatable glasses, so if you're out on a lake, on a boat somewhere this summer, go out, find yourself a pair of the floatable ones. They've also got wireframe. They've got wraparound. Anything you're after, any style, Rockwell makes it. We are also working on a motocross goggle that is going to be insane. We are in the development stages of that. I'm helping them with that, as is Justin Hill and a couple other guys. So stay tuned for that. That's coming. They also make all kinds of casual wear. Rockwell is getting it done in all kinds of markets. But the sunglasses, whoo, these things are next level. Check them out, rockwell.com.
The inspiration for Element, interestingly, was from working with my coaches. I sat down with those guys. I'm like, hey, here's what I'm doing. What should I do? And they looked at everything and they were like, you need more electrolytes, specifically sodium. And like most people do when they have a coach, I ignored what their advice was. I'm kind of like, well, I salt my food, I'm probably good. And it took me at least a year to finally listen to these guys and do what they asked me to do. And it was just a switch flip. It was just so obvious that this was the critical missing piece to the story. And it's ironic that this salt piece was like the linchpin, the keystone to making all the rest of that work.
Last but not least, Specialized Bicycles. If you are in the market to start pedaling, this is where you want to start. They've got great entry-level bikes all the way up to the Cadillac, the new Levo e-bike, anything in between, man. It doesn't matter what kind of riding you're doing. Go check out and start with Specialized. Don't waste your time on something that's going to break. The derailler's not going to shift after a couple months. Get something quality. These guys make it. Specialized leads that industry. Thanks for checking out the Whiskey Throttle Show. If you guys liked it, be sure to like and subscribe so you get notified anytime we have a new show go up. You can also go over to WhiskeyThrottleMedia.com and check out all of the content, new bike builds, new bike introductions. We've got all kinds of features in the moto and off-road space, as well as all of the current Whiskey Throttle shows listed there. You can find our YouTube channel to get a complete list by season of all the shows we've done, well over 100 at this point. And also follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, like, subscribe, comment, all that junk. We'll see you guys.